branch of philosophy you're talking about. Because if you're talking about more,
you're saying philosophically.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so I'm talking about his business ethics. He's never been ethical
Right.
when it came to business. He's left people holding the bag forever. You can read book after book after book of the people that basically he would just stiff them on money, and it wasn't worth the court costs for them to go and recoup that money. Obviously, he wasn't terribly ethical or moral in his marriages, whatever. Like, I don't even, that's his business. But to say that everybody turned on him the minute he came down the escalator is such a silly thing to say. People turn on him. I wrote a paper on him. One of the reasons I left the Republican Party is because my final paper in college was about Donald Trump. I knew what a crook he was. So when he came up and everybody just pretended he was this great guy, that was one of the catalysts in me leaving. He's always been a scumbag. Always.
RTB, hold on. Everything you just said, I pretty much on the character level, and then him being a scumbag, I used to make those exact same points because I used to be on the left. I used to be more left-leaning, and I can tell you that I used to specifically debate people on how shitty human being he was, even during his first term, because I voted against him in his first term. I voted against him. I did not vote for him. Right. So, like, I can tell you that I know all those talking points, and I pointed out those very same business practices about how he didn't pay people and this and that. And I talked about Deutsche Bank and all that, those other things.
Yeah. Like, he can't get a loan in this country. Nobody will loan him money because he stiffed so many banks.
Possibly. Oh, and here's the thing. There's some truth to that. The deeper I delved into that, was there a point in which he had those bankruptcy and his reputation as a businessman was shot to shit? Yes. And then there was Deutsche Bank that actually saw some value in him, decided to invest him in anyway.
Wait, but we know there's co-signers on those Deutsche Bank loans, and we don't know who the co-signers are.
Right, because because you can make private agreements, and sure,
exactly.
Okay, right. So
he can't even get Deutsche loans on his own. He has to have co-signers. He's a billionaire that needs a co-signer.
Well, hold on. At the time, yes, because here's the thing. So, like, what I'm saying is though they invested in his comeback happened or whatnot, and then he had the option, once he came out of bankruptcy, to go to other banks, because then everybody wanted him to do business with them again, and he refused, and so he decided to stay with Deutsche Bank, the bank that gave him his shot to come back. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, did he have his pitfalls where he fell down and got back up? Yes. Can you probably point to some people that he's pissed off? Obviously, yes. Is he probably just as big as a mean businessman as any when he does business? Probably.
But Tony, you saying that they gave him his second shot, that's a little bit narrativizing, right? That's you narrativizing that. You don't know if this was about giving him a second shot, or this also could have just as easily been the co-signer coming to them and say, like, here's the collateral, we'll back this, and Deutsche is like, all right, we have the collateral. You're narrativizing that it was a second shot. Like, you don't know. What
I mean is in the sense that they were investing in him coming back up, in the sense that he was not in a good place financially.
Maybe they were, but maybe they just recognized the collateral that the co-signer gave was good enough, so they're like, fuck it, we can take a risk, because if everything goes belly up, this collateral is worth it.
Are just like doing people favors. They're definitely in there to make money. Like, they're definitely,
and like, which bankruptcy?
Well, sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, but which one? Yeah,
like if you look at Atlantic City, the reason that Donald Trump has a hard time getting a loan is because, and this all ties back in. This is exact. No, he still struggles to get loans. But for construction, by the way, he can get loans. He can get loans like, and I'll tie this in. He can get loans, but not construction loans. And the reason is, in Atlantic City, he did exactly what he's being accused of now. He inflated his assets.
He didn't.
Hold on, Tony. Let me finish. He inflated his assets to get both of those casinos, and then when they went bankrupt and it came out that the banks didn't do their due diligence, Donald Trump went to them and said, "Look, there's two options here. You guys can lose all this money, or you can figure out a way to work with me. But you guys signed these bad loans, and I'm going to blow it up in the press that you guys signed bad loans." So he held them hostage. It was a brilliant move by Trump to save his own ass. But then, fast forward, we see this is the exact pattern that he's using now. So every loan he has, all these loans that we're looking at in New York now, those were collateralized loans. Those were loans against property. Those were not construction loans based on his good credit or his work ethic or his plans. These were collateralized loans. They didn't want to give him money unless they could collect with his own property. They trust him so little that he had to collateralize every one of his loans.
Well, sure, and that happens in business, and
not
I
always.
Dare say,
not always. That happens if they don't trust you.
Real quick, and then you can go back, right? If I have a rookie card of Michael Jordan, right, and you would say it's only worth, without a signature, it's only worth $10 or whatever. But if it has Michael Jordan's signature on it, it's worth way more than that, right? Are you saying that I'm inflating the value of my rookie card, Michael Jordan rookie card, just because it's got a signature on it, that I'm overinflating it? Because Donald Trump is a beacon of a safe investment. So he knows that his brand.
He's not a beacon of a safe investment. He bankrupted.
There's nowhere you can go on this planet where you can't. No one knows his name.
Every business he started that wasn't the one he inherited, he bankrupted. He's not a safe investment. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and I can go anywhere on this planet and people know the name of Enron. That's not really like name recognition is not what creates or defines your risk profile.
You're telling me there's no value in a name, in a reputation.
No, his name recognition is about
risk profile.
Name recognition is about luxury hotels. That's the part where he has a good name.
That's one. That's the one that made him. Yeah, sure.
But his name recognition, for example, in the golf community, there's not a single golf course designer with any reputation at all who will work with him. Nobody will design courses for him because he has these crazy ideas. He costs too much.
Out,
this is absolutely true. You can read this book. There's a book that Rick Riley wrote, and he talked to these golf course designers, people like that you probably don't know, but Robert Trent Jones and Pete Dye and Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer and Tom Watson. All these great course designers, they won't work with him. That's why he buys all of his courses. He can't develop them anymore. And he went down in Doral, for example. He has to put in these gaudy waterfalls in all of his courses that nobody cares about. And because they put that waterfall in there, you had some of the membership leave. At Turnberry in Scotland, or I think it's in Scotland. Yeah, Turnberry is Scotland. He bought that course. He tried to change it, and everybody in the city boycotted, and he eventually just had to back off. Nobody will work with him anymore. He stiffs all the contractors, and he messes everything up. That's why he has to buy.
What was that last one that you said?
This is a radical mischaracterization of Trump's career by someone who's utterly motivated to just seek the worst, find any.
Did you know anything about? Did you know anything about those golf deals? Do you know anything about those golf deals?
No, I know about people.
Okay, so you just got in your feelings. You're like, he's saying bad things about Trump. He must not like him.
Hey, I have no doubt in your ability to use sophistry and marshal a case against Trump by finding anything bad and then presenting that to the public as if
you're not saying anything.
That's all that's important about him.
Hold on,
I understand you're heavily motivated to do that, but I find it really hard to believe that he can be employing tens of thousands of people. Meanwhile, anyone else but Trump that's in politics has got tens of millions of dollars for no discernible reason whatsoever, other than selling favor overseas, especially your president.
See, that's silly. Not everybody has tens of millions of dollars. What are you saying?
Say conspiracy theory because that's gotten your mind to
That's a conspiracy theory.
You're
saying
there it is. Conspiracy theory
so much. We can get to the bottom of why you misuse conspiracy theory so much. You obviously have
you're doing it again.
Have no knowledge of history. Do you know who overthrew Mossadegh in Iran in 1953? It was Kermit Roosevelt working for the CIA because they overthrow governments regularly. Conspiracies happen.
I agree with
that.
Then
you have an outsider candidate who threatens the hegemony of the CIA, which had been building up since they shot Kennedy. And guess what? Conspiracies are going to show up, and then they're going to broadcast.
This is the conspiracy part.
These are just conspiracy theories.
Yeah, this is the conspiracy part.
Whenever we're close to destroying your point, you can just go, conspiracy theory, man. No, that's COVID. That's got to be conspiracy theory. I'm not going to look into
Can I explain what
I'm not going to look into EcoHealth or Peter Daszak. I'm not going to look into Ralph Barrick or any of the originators of this virus that they then profited off the release of. No, it's got to be conspiracy theory.
So Transplender. Now let me help you understand why it's a conspiracy theory. Because you are talking about people, you are theorizing about people.
No, I'm not.
Hold on. Let me finish. You are theorizing about these people conspiring against Donald Trump.
A theory.
Just because they have done horrific things in the past, just because they have interjected themselves all over the world, just because our CIA is disgusting, just because we go into countries all over the world and destabilize them and we create regime change wars and power vacuums, that is not evidence that Donald Trump is good. This is where it's a conspiracy theory.
We're not talking about whether he's good or not.
Hold on.
I'm almost there, Transplender. Almost there, brother.
Okay,
you are saying that these people are conspiring against him, and that is a theory because you have no evidence that they are conspiring against him.
I absolutely do have evidence. You've obviously never read the report.
Conspired against others. Evidence that they conspired against others is not evidence that they conspired against him.
Yes, it is.
Then link it. Okay, then link it.
I'll tell you all about it.
I'm so happy you got come in here, Transplender. I'm so happy you came in here, bro.
No worries, brother.
Now link it to Trump. with real facts. Sure. That's not theory.
When Trump ran against Hillary Clinton, she created a dossier. She paid her law firm, Perkins Coie, to pay Fusion GPS, Glenn Simpson, and then the wife of the fourth in charge of your DOJ,
Wait, hold on.
The wife of
Who
Bruce
started?
Ford.
Wait,
Bruce
let's get these facts right as we go. Transponder. I'm just going to ask you questions.
Hold on, RTP. You got to talk, man.
I'm just going to ask you questions.
You got to talk, man.
Transponder. I just want to. I'm only going to ask you.
You say no. You can't demonstrate that a conspiracy happened.
No,
then when I attempt to
Transponder.
No. Those are words.
Hold on.
Let him finish, RTP.
Tony,
you got to talk,
Tony, hold on. Transponder. I promise every time I interrupt, it will just be to ask a clarifying question, and then you can keep going. I promise I won't derail at all. I just want to ask questions
all at once when I'm done.
Okay, I'm not interested in that. You don't want to have.
Well, that's what you haven't been interested in.
I don't have anything to write things down right now.
Calling them theory and laughing about it.
No, I'm just going to ask you clarifying questions.
RTP, stop stonewalling.
I'm asking him questions. I'm asking questions.
Let us demonstrate that they have happened, but you
I'm trying to let you demonstrate it, my friend. Transponder, I promise I want to hear what you have to say.
RTP, take notes,
Tony,
dude.
Shut up, dude. I'm talking to Transponder. I don't need to talk to three people.
You got to talk,
I'm just talking to Transponder.
Let him finish.
Just do it one at a time.
Okay,
one at a time.
Let RTP go. Go ahead.
Transponder, when you're going, can I just, if I don't understand exactly what you mean, can I just ask you to clarify things that you mean while you're going?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Go
what
ahead.
Did you not understand so far?
Now I forgot, so keep going.
Okay, I'll repeat it from the top. Hillary Clinton is running against Donald Trump. Hillary email server comes out. Durham report confirms that she wanted to have a dossier to take away from the fact that all the focus was on her emails. Can they make a link between Trump and Russia? So
that was the question I asked. So to answer that, we do understand that Fusion GPS originally was hired by the GOP. They started this research.
Yep.
They abandoned it, and then the Hillary Clinton campaign picked up the bill later, hired Christopher Steele, and then Christopher Steele picked up on the research that Fusion GPS had started with the GOP, right? Okay.
No. But there's one distinction you're not making. The GOP hate Trump as much as the DNC do.
I agree with that. Okay,
good. So they're all on board. They hate this outsider. They'll do anything they can to bring him under heel, and they started massive investigations into him and Carter Page by forging an email to the Foreign Surveillance Court that changed something critically. Because when you apply to the Foreign Surveillance Court to spy on someone and have Shia LaBeouf-like eagle-eye powers over them, you've got to convince the judge that they are actually a threat that is working with the Russians. That's when the CIA altered a letter that said Carter Page is working with us when he goes over to Russia. They altered it to say Carter Page is not working with us when he goes to Russia, to convince the surveillance court that this might be a Russian agent that's working with Trump, because we altered an email to make it look that way.
Now,
that is a massive coup. That is Watergate
real quick,
times a million.
Can I ask you a question? Just clarification real quick. We do understand it, whether you agree with it or not, and I understand this is a point of contention with a lot of people, but we do understand that at least the FISA courts, or not the FISA courts, excuse me, the judge giving the green light for this investigation did say that without the Steele dossier, he still would have given the green light, correct? So whether we believe that judge or not, which is fair enough to say, like, I don't believe the judge, but we do agree there's at least like some gray area there on whether or not this Steele dossier was the catalyst of this or at least in this investigation being green light.
We were being hinted that there was a larger corpus of evidence, and they had assessment reports released from each evidence agency that was giving their moderate to high confidence that this and that happened, but it never materialized. It ended up that the sole cornerstone of all investigations into Trump was what was written in the Steele dossier, paid for by political opposition.
But they disagree with that, right?
The CIA activated Stephen Halper to approach Trump orbit. The CIA activated Joseph Mifsud to plant information on George Papadopoulos while he was in London to say, hey, did you hear about Hillary's emails? Then they engineered a meeting between Papadopoulos and the former secretary of State.
Wait, hold on real quick. Hold on. One more question. When you say they set up Papadopoulos, right? It wasn't necessarily that they and it was through, what was that guy's name? What was that?
Joseph Mifsud was the push operation. Then the pull operation was Alexander Downer, who was the former Secretary of State for Australia, a friend of Hillary Clinton. So they
set him up to say things that they believed were true, and whether that's another point where we may have disagreement and we're not going to know, but they believe that what was being said by George Papadopoulos was true. George Papadopoulos has since recanted that, right?
No. They pushed information into George Papadopoulos through an agent at the Link campus in Italy named Joseph Mifsud. Joseph Mifsud then disappeared from Earth altogether, and then the next time the information was pulled, it was a push-pull operation in Spycraft. To pull it out of him was Alexander Downer, who then reported to the FBI, I think that this guy's got ties to Russia. They were generating smoke around the Trump campaign. The Durham report has already said,
now
it was for opposition research
real quick,
they were using as a method. You even have Jim Comey pull back the president.
Hold on, I promise. Outside of that push-pull campaign, does George Papadopoulos have other links to Russia?
There's many links that converge. Stephen Halper approached Stephen Halper was also approaching General Flynn. Stephen Halper works at Cambridge University.
Outside of Stephen Halper, did they have other connections?
Yes, Azra Turk. She's a Turkish intelligence officer that was meeting with George Papadopoulos.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay. They also called George Papadopoulos to Israel to give him $10,000 for no reason at all, which scared the life out of him. So he flew to Greece, gave that money to a lawyer, and then flew back to America, where immediately they arrested him before he could get to customs to try and catch him with transporting over $10,000. They were setting him up left, right, and center because they needed to manufacture something that could at least get Trump in line. That's why Jim Comey had to pull Trump back and brief him on the Trump dossier that they knew was fake, that he could have had a bagel, taken 30 minutes and said,
whoa, wait, hold on.
And they even
can I push back on that real quick?
Dossier with.
Can I push back on the dossier?
You don't understand. There's something.
Wait, hold on. I'm being very fair, Transplender. I'm being very fair.
You are.
Let me push back on the dossier a little bit. A dossier is used as opposition research. A dossier nobody who ever reads a dossier for opposition research should view a dossier as factual. They're not meant to be factual. They're meant to be opposition research. So for the Republicans, when they funded it initially, they wanted to attack Trump. They wanted to be able to put things out there in the news, whether they're true or not. They wanted things out there. You also perform opposition research on your own guy. You go out, like Trump's team would have done the same thing, so you know what people might hit you with. So the Steele dossier was never intended to be factual. It is a collection of rumors about Donald Trump. Some of them turned out to be factual, some of them didn't, some of them we'll probably never know, like the golden shower thing. But a dossier is not, some people misinterpret this. It is not used to be verifiable. It is used to prepare you for a campaign.
No, this was opposition creative writing. It wasn't research.
You can't just change it now. That's fair. It's opposition creative writing, but that's what it was made for, right? Like, it's not necessarily that a dossier has to be true. Anybody who looks at a dossier for oppo research thinking it's true, you shouldn't do that. Just somebody who's worked in campaigns, don't do that. Don't assume it's true.
But it was shown that was the inside club. Like, think of how Hillary Clinton can be let off of her investigation over emails that she repeatedly lied to the public about, and then have the same team that exonerated her and called the investigation into her the mid-year exam be the same ones to open at the exact same players, the exact same Lisa Page, Peter Strzok.
They couldn't punish Hillary more. They couldn't punish Hillary more because David Petraeus had already done this. David Petraeus had already given classified emails to his girlfriend that he wasn't supposed to, and he got a slap on the wrist. So you can't punish Hillary worse than David Petraeus. There was already a precedent there. It's basically the same thing.
No, it is absolutely not the same precedent.
Oh, it's the same thing. Different. It's exactly the same thing.
She was using a private server to conduct government business, and when it was subpoenaed by Congress, she sent someone over to bleach bit it. If there's never more of an admission of
no, that's not
that, I don't know. Can I
correct how she bleach bitted it? So the server that was in her house, it contained a lot of emails. Every bit of classified email, every single government email that was hosted on that server, we have. We know that because it was forwarded, and the government keeps track of that. So any email that ever touched that server that was a government email, the government has a copy of it. The 30,000 emails that are missing were from her personal emails and the Clinton Foundation. We have no right to those emails. We don't have a warrant for those emails. There's not a crime alleged. It doesn't matter that she bleached her server. It does not matter. We have no right to those emails. But every email from her .gov email address, we know about it. We have a copy of it. That's how we know which emails she sent. That's why when they reviewed them to see if anything was top secret and how big of an issue this was, they had all the emails, even though her server had been bleached. So the only emails we don't have are her personal emails or her emails related to the Clinton Foundation, and there's no warrant for that. We have no right to those emails.
Can I just say something really quick? Because one, you're right about it being The common thing I heard with the dossier you guys were talking about is the media, and then putting it out there to smear on both sides. The second thing I like to say is there's a reason they couldn't go after Hillary after she was gone, and that's because they don't have the power to mess with the private. They had to do it when she was in the public, aka doing her job.
Oh man, this is no. God, this
Hillary was not. Hillary was not in office when she got caught with this.
I know, RTP, you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me because that's how it's
I
supposed.
don't need to. You don't understand. You're a caveman commenting on a sophisticated laser system.
No, you're not. You're not.
How dare you suggest that cavemen didn't have sophisticated laser systems?
You're right. I apologize.
I don't understand
aliens.
Why? Like that's just how the system
sounds
works.
like a conspiracy theory.
I'm trying to explain an exact conspiracy that happened, and everyone's getting off the rails, going, "No. This portray us as an example." No, it's not.
Keep going.
That's why their little commission for J6 didn't work out with Trump either, because he was already in the private. He was not in his job, just like Hillary wasn't.
Librarian, could he finish? I want to hear what he has to say.
Obama, the lawyers of who was it? Susan Rice. All of the same lawyers and all of the same senior investigators were working on the investigation into Hillary, which they named the mid-year exam, because they wanted to pass the exam, get Hillary ready for the election, and at the same time launching an investigation into her political opponent. After exonerating her, launching an investigation into her political opponent using opposition creative writing that she created, and then
Transplender, could we
actual evidence? They could have
Transplender,
taken
you also
5
know
minutes to verify it. They could have taken 5 minutes to verify it, but they didn't.
You
So
can't
they
verify
dossier.
Can I ask
spent 2 years of hamstringing Trump administration. You don't understand the magnitude of what's happened, so you should all shut up. And Christie,
wait, can I ask you another question real quick?
2 years of hamstringing the Trump administration with a bad faith, lawfare, persecution, witch hunt from Mueller.
Could I ask you a question again real quick?
Struck on that. At least
Transplender, could we stop for a sec?
Messages between him and Lisa Page.
Oh my God,
it's
dude.
a big world, and these guys don't want to talk about it. They want.
I'm trying to talk to you about it, Transplender. Stop yelling.
Everyone has a story. The criminals have a story.
Transplender, please let me ask questions.
But they will tell it as if it is the story.
All right, so Transplender. One thing you keep saying that isn't true is that the dossier was like the only reason that they looked into it, or it was the main reason. Again, that's your opinion. We've already agreed.
Oh, it was the main reason. What else was it?
Hold on. We've already agreed
Don't
that
say it's a lie. Say what else was more than the dossier.
Okay, I can get there. Okay, part of the reasons they looked into the Trump campaign was that Trump Tower meeting in 2015. Now, Trump's team lied about that meeting existing. Then they lied about what they talked about.
What Trump Tower meeting? With Trump Jr.?
Yeah, with Trump Jr. So they lied.
Do you know who
hold on.
that woman
Transponder. Yes, I do.
Hold on.
Transponder, why are you monologuing and nobody?
Can I wait? Hold on, Mr. Jones. Let me finish up.
I know.
Transponder. Let me. Transponder. Jesus Christ! I promise we're on the same. We're on the same side. Listen, hold on.
Have a dialogue.
Just hang out with me for a second.
Mr. Jones.
Transponder. One more minute. There were. Hold on, brother. Hold on. It wasn't just the dossier why they opened it, and I'll just list off the reasons. You had the Trump Tower meeting, which was repeatedly lied about.
Which was the dossier writer. That was the dossier writer
Correct.
that arranged that meeting.
Hold on. I understand. I'm just listing the things. There was also the business plan for Trump Tower Moscow, which they also lied about, and which we know, even though Donald Trump said they abandoned it prior to him entering office, those talks weren't abandoned until 2018. So for 2 years while he was president, he was working directly with the Russian government on a business deal in Moscow. Now, does that mean that he's guilty of something? No, but it definitely warrants looking into.
I can't believe you can ignore the most massive coup in American history to go, well, it could have been these talks about Trump Tower.
You can't prove that it's a coup. Like, you can't prove that it's a coup. You just you've narrativized this whole thing, which is why I keep interjecting, because you're taking just bits and pieces. You're not, hold on. You're not telling the whole story. You're leaving out giant parts to narrativize this coup. Yeah, because you didn't bring up the Trump Tower meeting. You didn't bring up Moscow. You didn't bring up that Michael. Hold on. You didn't bring up that Michael Flynn worked for the Clinton Foundation, or worked for the Clintons on foreign policy, and that he was actively working with Russia, and that they warned
the Trump. That's another lie.
Yes, he was. He pled guilty to doing that.
Yeah, because he was entrapped, because they were recording him in bad faith. Do you know that Stephen Halper, the same one that approached Trump team, organized a meeting between General Flynn and Lakova? Look up this at Cambridge University. He invited him over.
This doesn't prove anything. He was still working with Russia. This is the conspiracy part.
When he's
this
talking
is your narrativization of the story.
Because Flynn had family ties to the Democrat Party, but he was an independent thinker, and Obama hated it. That was Obama's biggest mistake.
If you don't tell the whole story,
the Middle East was safer now, or it was when he started, and he said the Middle East is not safer now, and it made Flynn a giant target, and it terrified them that Flynn knew where all the bodies were buried, and they could not have him working in the Trump administration.
That's you narrativizing again.
Because then he could purge the executive branch of all the rats that were working to sabotage him.
Narrativized conspiracy.
So him and Lakova were set up at a meeting in London, and then at that meeting,
theory.
He was there. It's not conspiracy theory.
Yes, you're talking about your theory of people conspiring against Donald Trump, and you are leaving out key components of every single aspect of the story, which is why I have to keep interrupting. Can I finish?
I don't expect you to say, "Oh, you win." I'm not going to mention random words with confidence and hope.
Now it's OJ. Guys, your argument is
O.J. Simpson overcomes the level of evidence I've got.
Host is talking, you guys.
Simply pivot and then say, "No, but this is more important." It's not more important.
Splendor, darling, can you slow the F down?
There's such a magical world, and I need to show
Slim Shady ain't got shit on this man.
And I don't have a lot
he
of
drops
time.
bars.
And let RTP respond, because I love the fact that you guys are complete on polar opposites, and you guys know everything about everything. So I'd like to have a really good.
But what he's doing is telling an angle. Every time I try and build this story that no one wants to hear,
yeah, no, that's
is it my turn now? Couldn't have been the only piece of data that they were using.
Can I tell you what I'm doing instead of you tell me what I'm doing? Can I tell you what I'm doing instead of no? Okay. First of all, Transplender talks over me every time I talk.
Transplender talks over me, so don't worry about it.
Listen, Transplender, I actually started this from the beginning by saying it is possible that people conspired against him.
It's
but
demonstrated.
What you're doing is
down, it's all
oh my God, dude. Little impulse control. I'm doing is I'm there we go.
A lie. Let's get ahead of it early. I've demonstrated that there was a coup.
What the fuck, man? What the fuck? So all I'm doing this entire time you've been talking, I've listened to what you're saying, and then I'm interjecting facts that you, for some reason, are leaving out. You are building a narrative, and you do have a theory that these people are conspiring against Donald Trump. This is, by definition, a conspiracy theory. It's a theory because you can't prove it.
Now you're trying to misrepresent a conspiracy theory.
And it's people conspiring. That's actually what a conspiracy. I was almost done, brother. I was almost done. I was so close to being done. All I'm doing is asking you, instead of narrativizing, to just tell the whole story. I just want you to tell the whole story.
Transplender, can I ask, why are you defending Trump so hard? What did he do for you?
It's the fact that I witnessed a conspiracy against someone, and it's fascinating.
I simply want to ask you, how did you benefit from his presidency? I want to know.
Hold on,
the world does. Where the West goes is led by America, and under Biden, they are leading you into a digital technocracy surveillance state called the Great Reset that they talk about every year in Davos.
Yeah, I mean, Transgender's Canadian, bro. He doesn't even go here.
Let's attack the source, man. I got no arguments here, so let's just pivot to the source attack, man. How does this guy even have a course in this race? He can't have any truth to tell right now. Yeah. You got to fixate on what I want to frame the argument like, because then we feel like we won.
So narrativizing, like RTP said, you took a bunch of bits and pieces of the actual story, you know what I'm saying, and then created, what did you call it, Fantasyland? You created your own fan fiction in regards to what actually occurred. Like, quite literally, it reads like a fan fiction novel.
Well, that's what they did. It's not my fault that reality resembles.
But not
I agree with you
in the context
that
in which you
life
created
is imitating fiction. It's imitating Tom Clancy, and you're just here going, conspiracy theory, this couldn't have happened. Tom Clancy's fiction. How did this possibly happen?
Okay.
You just yourself said it was a conspiracy against Donald Trump.
Correct.
You also can't prove it, which makes it a fucking theory, dude.
Correct.
This is just
textbook
conspiracy theory.
The Durham report.
You said no, you didn't prove it, dude. You didn't.
Yeah,
you just are really. You being convinced of something is not proving something.
Did you read the Mueller report once it was concluded?
When they altered an email for Carter Page to get a FISA 1 warrant on him that is designed to take on people.
Did you read the Mueller report once it concluded? Did you read the Mueller report once it concluded?
Do you know what the Mueller report was? The Mueller report could have been done in 20 minutes.
Did you read it, yes or no?
Is this real? Is the dossier real? Do you guys remember the last dossier that got you into war with Iraq? It was another dossier from MI6.
You're
going to keep talking, right? You're going to keep talking. That's what these guys do.
Yes, I am. This is insane,
Another dossier got you into the Iraq war. It was the Richard Dearlove dossier that said yellow cake uranium is coming from Nigeria to make weapons of mass destruction.
How is this an answer to did you read the Mueller report?
No, it was
did you read the Mueller report? Let me say a bunch of unrelated things real quick.
And you fell for it.
So did you read the Mueller report then?
Yeah.
Was the question. No, okay.
But it's just down to me to defend this man so much. I don't.
Well, why not, Amir? Like, I don't get it.
RTP, would you rather your president make business deals with another country, or would you rather them accept money to implement policies?
Oh, here's a fun thing. Can I answer that?
Go ahead. And now
here's a fun thing. When James Comer put out that graphic yesterday, he put out a graphic showing exactly where the money came from, how it flowed into Hunter Biden through this company, between Hunter Biden and somebody else, then to Hunter Biden's company, then to his uncle, and then to Joe Biden. Now, what Comer showed yesterday is that Joe Biden loaned money to his brother, and his brother paid back that exact amount of money, no interest. But hold on. But what we did see is that there was, you remember that 10% for the big guy thing? When James Comer laid out his evidence, the only person getting 10%, the only one, was his uncle. Joe Biden didn't make any money. James Comer accidentally might have just figured out who the big guy was and also exonerated Biden by showing he made no money. He got payment. He got hold on. The loans that he gave to his brother, those were paid back in the exact amount, meaning he made $0. And in the money transfers, the 10% that was taken out only happened with Joe Biden's brother. Joe Biden's brother was getting the 10%. So it looks to me, if I was going to make a theory here, a conspiracy theory, if you will, that
I was going to say this sounds very conspiracy theory like.
Well,
I was about to say also Slender.
Hold on. I was almost there. We have the data that Joe Biden, nobody's shown that Joe Biden's made a dime, but we do know that one person was making exactly 10%. And it was his brother. So if there is a big guy getting 10%, the only person we know of so far who has gotten 10% is his brother. And it looks to me, if I was guessing, that his brother, hold on, almost there, that his brother and
did you rule out that possibility?
Hold on. That
live for the whole life.
And Hunter Biden cooked up a deal together to get money out of foreign entities. That's what it looks like.
Hold on, everybody. Did somebody mute Liv?
I don't know, but Liv's been asking to come up.
Yeah, they muted him a long time
I think he was in the queue a little while ago. I think. Let me see.
Well, I'd like him to come up. So where is he?
Well,
I don't see him.
He's in the queue.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna drop right after this. But I was gonna say, Splendor, you're talking about this man as if he's a saint. But all he does is say he's gonna drain the swamp, when that motherfucker is the swamp. He's a creep. He's problematic as hell, and you're trying
Thank you, PSYOP victim. Good to hear from a PSYOP victim. Anyone else want to say that?
Right, Gato. Like that literally means nothing.
Bruh, I'm not 19, I'm 22, thank you.
Yeah, and Gato, also, you've been caught in saying a lot of outlandish stuff, and then when we catch you in it, you just say you're joking.
No, Tony, I told you were having an episode the other day.
Joke. Thanks for the joke, Gato. Right. Thank you for joking with us. We're happy.
Okay.
Okay.
I wasn't kidding just now, but...
All right, hold on.
Good to care about Watergate.
Gato, I'm gonna...
You guys care about Watergate
I'm gonna drop
scandal?
You.
All right, bye.
Bye. Thanks for the joke.
Was Watergate a scandal? Was it a demonstrated conspiracy practicum and not a theory?
Amir, are you still asking
people
anyone
conspired to commit a crime?
Still here. I'm
but
just
all
waiting for
conspiracies aren't theories.
The next input, because these guys have been going at it the last like 20 minutes.
I've been enjoying their dialogue. This has been really good, though.
Let them do it.
Did the CIA employ Google AI to win hearts and minds in the war in Iraq and Afghanistan that monitored the internet traffic and created a narrative that you should trust the allies of the West and not work with the Mujahideen? Did that happen?
Comparing those, bro, is the comparison is just not there.
No. It actually
talking
happened.
About
they actually
people
used a Google AI that was ran by General Stanley McChrystal, who was a general for America who oversaw the war in Iraq, as well as Afghanistan, employed this AI during 2020 to make sure everyone heard about convincing stories that would call Trump a liar. They were doing this by quote-unquote fact-checking.
Why is that?
And linking you to stories that they think would be the most convincing to make you become like Gatto and be convinced that Trump is untouchable. Oh, man, if they debunk that lie, that's fine. But I've heard there's 3,000 lies, and I'm not going to look into it to realize that they're just...
So did you read the Mueller report then?
Hyperbole, looking at something from another angle, the same way RTP Talks is done in here. I showed you
to read the Mueller report.
Was opposition research. And
so
did
you read
it?
it
could have been.
Did you read it?
Wanting to have a hotel in Moscow. So as long as
did you read it?
That, it's not the demonstrated reality that the Durham report concluded that it was indeed.
Did you read it?
And it was indeed the fourth in charge of the DOJ was facilitating more. Getting FISA warrants on these people through Christie, the fourth in charge of your DOJ, named Bruce.
Do we really have to do this again? I'm gonna get out of here.
It was. I can tell you about the conspiracy, but you don't want to.
Christie, thank you. Christie, thanks for having me on.
You didn't prove anything. That's conspiracy.
Word salad.
Tony, I feel like we made progress today. There's a little bit of olive branch extended between me and you. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Transplanter, I did enjoy it.
That's a weird tangent. Let's do it again if you have to go and that's like this is your exiting the stage or something.
Hey, RTP.
Okay, we were
message me on.
I stopped listening to you a long time ago because you keep going off subject. But we could do it another time.
I heard it was a conspiracy theory, so it couldn't be real.
Yeah, stay cute and cool. Have a great summer.
All right, peace out, RTP.
That's very cute language for a grown man to use towards another grown man, but I appreciate it.
I mean, it was pretty funny when you mocked Jones's accent a moment ago. So yeah, don't really complain about people being immature.
Yeah, let's not. Pretty much.
Well, I mean,
what?
I think everybody up here has been immature at one point in time.
Me and my accent, I'm not bothered.
Never me.
But I will call out him when he's being a little too cute.
Who's Canadian?
I know, but like Jones had only said two things and you started mocking his voice.
Who's Canadian?
Random, unrelated story. It kind of debunks the theory that opposition research was used as the FBI predicate to invest Trump team.
Isn't that what you did when asked if you had read the investigation, the Mueller report?
Yeah.
Right.
No. Not at all.
Yeah, you did. You never answered in one way or another whether or not you had read it.
Concluded that they found no ties between Trump and Russia. What are you talking about?
That's not what they found.
That's not what they found.
Oh, it's not, right? Oh, no. It's not. They didn't. So then why isn't Trump in jail for treason and sedition?
Because they concluded that trying him, you know what I'm saying, for these things.
Oh, yeah, the trial will cost
more
too much
harmful.
money.
Right, and Paul Manafort was
been good.
Paul Manafort was jailed for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. They were going to arrest anyone in that orbit. Paul Manafort worked for the old guard of Ukraine that was controlled by Russian sphere of influence. In the Biden 2014 revolution,
why would
Biden
Trump
put in
select
his
him
people
then?
in Ukraine. And then
Why
they
would Trump
funneled
select
money
him to run
through
his
Hunter
campaign?
Biden and Devon Archer named Rosemont Seneca to build bioweapons on the doorstep of Russia, giving Russia a casus belli if the Nazis...
You know, Willy Wonka is a 1971 film starring Gene Wilder, and it was released in 1971 by Warner Brothers Productions, which is actually one of the greatest productions of a long time. You know, currently celebrating their 100-year anniversary, founded in 1928, which Warner Brothers... See how that fucking adds nothing to the conversation? Great. See, I can do it too. I can do it too. I can do it too and just derail on mile-a-minute statements that add nothing to the conversation. You want to talk about sophistry. You came in here and complained about RTP's sophistry, and that's exactly what you're doing. It's long, vacuous, meaningless statements that add nothing but confusion and irrelevance to the conversation.
Oh, no. That's your motivated reasoning to never hear what actually happened and just miss.
You aren't saying anything.
You can even understand what you're saying because you're just yapping.
Then Trump is a part of the conspiracy then if he appointed Paul Manafort to run his campaign, right? Or did he just not know?
No,
is Trump just
not.
gullible?
He's part of the conspiracy of the DOJ targeting him. Like I mentioned, Watergate times a million initiated against him.
So Trump's a part of his own conspiracy to implicate himself.
No.
Then why would he appoint Manafort?
I think hold on. I think what Splinter's trying to say is that there were people even within Trump's organization that probably were not really for him.
Tony, can I ask you?
And they were shepherded into place by people that make.
I know the best people.
Tony, can I ask you a question specifically?
This guy. I hear he's the best.
So Trump is gullible.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So do you think
Trump is the victim of a massive coup?
It's not about being.
If he's so easily victimized, then doesn't that make him a weak president? If the people in his own inner orbit are so against him? Is his vetting system so weak that the highest up people in his campaign and in his presidency are so against him that he can't weed that out?
No, Jaden.
That makes him pretty inept, doesn't it?
Jaden, that has been the history of all men of power. They always try to get somebody. They always get somebody within the sphere of influence as close as they can to that person.
Then he's gullible, right?
They were flying around, following Trump around as he did foreign policy, and have John Kerry follow him up and go,
do you hear this,
guy? We're getting him out of here. 2020.
Like, this is nuts.
Right now.
What's your question, Mr. Jones? What's your question?
Canadian politics.
You know what a 5150 is?
Do I know what a who and the what now is?
A 5150 is.
A 5150 hold, as in a 5150 hold?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Because, I mean, this is borderline, you know what I'm saying, crisis here. I'm not even joking.
In order to be a 5150, you have to be displaying some manner of being in which you're either a harm to someone else or yourself.
Yeah, exactly that.
Okay.
Oh, telling the truth is harmful. These people actually work for robots that want to weaponize things as misinformation that are harmful to their worldview.
I work for the Tin Man.
Label people as that.
Work for robots.
I'm a pretty regular person.
Yeah, algorithms, robots, AI, yeah.
Brother, you got to take that foil hat off.
Yep, it's all just style. It's all
also, you're a Canadian.
They'll
why are you so invested in American
politics?
Wait, so question. Let me ask you guys something. Because I think everybody has their own. Granted, I'll actually agree with RTP on a lot of things, that some things are theory to the point, but in a technical sense. But here's what I would say, though. There is a level in which mathematical probability makes something so implausible that you can derive some sort of indirect or direct evidence just off some sort of inference. Right. And I think that's kind of what a lot of people resort to. They resort to dismissing something on a technicality whenever it suits them. And while I will say that, yes, there are some technical elements that would probably be a much easier thing to connect, I would say that the mathematical probability and plausibility of all this occurring is just too coincidental for it to be random.
Okay, Tony, do you know, you do know the principles of Occam's razor, correct?
I've heard them before. Yeah.
Okay. So essentially,
preferring the explanation
make it like
with fewest moving parts. What's more likely
to make it to make it fifth grade, right? That if the simplest answer is typically the correct answer, right? The simplest answer in this whole scenario is that Trump is in fact a criminal. That is literally the simplest answer. All signs.
In what regard?
Yes. All signs point to yes.
In what regard?
Because we know his past, right? We know that he's been found criminal.
What do you feel has been criminal that he has done?
Okay, I'll answer that. So one, his organization was found liable of fraud in multiple occasions. One, when it came to terms of the school. Two, when we're talking about his nonprofit or his charitable organizations. Three, the New York case that's currently going on, his organization has already been found liable of fraud.
Violently assaying Agent Carroll.
But here's the thing.
And retention of classified documents in the Mar-a-Lago case.
Mr. Jones, here's the thing. Fraud is such a broad term that it can quite literally be applied to anything.
He was found liable for essaying a woman. That's also criminal in nature. The only reason that it wasn't a criminal trial and instead a civil trial was because the statutes of limitation ran out. But the judge made it perfectly clear that there was a grape case and it had always been a grape case, and he had been liable of assault. As a matter of fact,
that's why they went to civil court. Is that what you're saying?
It only went to civil court because the statute of limitations ran out.
Well, yeah, because criminal involves anything that's criminal has to be crimes against persons, people.
It was a crime against a person. The statute of limitation ran out in terms of years.
Right. Oh, dang, we lose Splendor. Right.
Oh no.
Hold on. Let me see. Okay. Dang it. All right. Well, statute of limitations with civil depends on the nature of the offense. Civil can have a longer statute of limitations. Fraud, the reason they always go with fraud is because fraud has no statute of limitations.
Sure. But here's the thing, though. He's been found liable, you know what I'm saying, for these things over and over and over again. Nobody, and I mean nobody, I don't care what you do, right? Because nobody has 4, different indictments with over 91 felonies and never did anything. If you understand how indictments work, you have to present evidence, right, to a group of jurors, right? And that evidence has to show that there is enough evidence to reasonably try somebody for said crime.
Okay, so Mr. Jones, I'm going to point out to you.
Hold on, I'm almost done. The conviction rate for federal and state level indictments hovers around 95 to 98%. And most of them settle, over 80% of them settle out of court before ever going to trial because they understand that there's so much evidence against them that they cannot win. In addition to that, now I'll land my plane here. Everybody that is part of the, nearly everybody, that is part of the Georgia case has turned state's evidence at this point, has taken a plea and is testifying against Donald Trump. Even his own daughter has testified against him both in the January 6th hearings and will be again testifying against him in the fraud case.
Right. So when it comes to, here's the thing, fraud, your average American, this is just pretty much any American you can throw a rock at and hit them.
Here's some secret apps they don't want you to know about. It's called Ask AI.
Right? Because there are over
you can literally ask
8,000 laws, codes, statutes, things like that, right? That are in existence at any given time and that people unwittingly break every day. I can tell you right now that if you look into anyone at all with any level of detail, you'd probably be able to get them on something. And the reason they go on fraud is because fraud has no statute of limitations. And the reason they also go with fraud is because you can literally get them on anything they've ever written down as well. I think it's 18 USC 1001 and 1002 fictitious conveyance of language, and 1002 is usually the receipt or signed confession and usually they'll consider anything a signed confession, anything in which you committed fraud. There was some sort of official documentation of form, right? So the reason everyone uses this one fraud as a catch-all. So it's not that I'm saying that maybe he's full of fluffy rainbows and kittens in which he's probably done everything perfect his whole life. I'm just saying that you can make anyone look like a victim. You can pull out felony after felony, fraud after fraud out your ass because of the no statute of limitations. You can do that to anyone that you want.
So are you saying Trump committed those crimes? Trump, I just have a question. Even before his presidency and the bankruptcies and the frauds and everything that, was held against him before his presidency, did those actually ever occur? Are those just complete bullshit? Are they being pulled out of thin air?
Just real quick before he answers, there is a statute of limitation for fraud, 7 years.
Which kind of fraud are we talking about? Are we talking about the federal or state level?
This is federal.
Federal.
No, excuse me. This is state. Sorry, I misread.
I was going to say it's got to be state because I know
state.
Federal.
Yeah.
With federal, it's usually no statute of limitations.
The RICO charges aren't on fraud. They're conspiracy to defraud the election, right? Their conspiracy, to interfere in an election. Their conspiracy to to tamper with election results. So like these charges are there are many charges, and again, I need you to reconcile the fact that all of the people who are part of said conspiracy or part of said RICO charges are turning state's evidence and are going to be testifying against him. How do you reconcile that?
Well, I mean, like I said, I think you can pressure anyone to do anything if you show them that you got enough on them. That happens quite a bit.
Okay, so you're agreeing that there's enough evidence that he probably did do this. And then we can refer back to
not necessarily. I'm saying you can build a case on anyone and you can manufacture it out of thin air simply by pressuring anyone around them.
So we didn't hear the phone call where he told the governor of the state that he needs to find them exactly one more vote than what he lost by in the state.
Exactly one more vote.
11,000 blah 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 blah.
Which would have been one more that he needed for the total.
Right. I'm not. Oh, you're talking about one more electoral vote?
No, one more in the populist vote to count on the electoral level.
Correct.
I'm not familiar with that.
That's in the indictment. Or how about in the case of the documents case, where on page 3, he's quoted in the Bedminster, New Jersey recording as saying, "As president, I could have declassified. Of course, now I can't. It's a secret."
Okay, what about it?
That would be evident. That would be evidence that he committed a crime, right? That he demonstrated intent to retain classified documents.
Intent to retain. Well, I mean, here's the thing. You can retain the classified. Even Joe Biden retained classified documents.
Right, so but you have to establish intent to determine criminality.
Them. You can declassify them.
Not right? Post-presidency. No. And he's quoted as saying that he can't. I just read you the quote.
Okay, no, he just made a statement of fact. Again, that doesn't necessarily
so he
show
can't
intent.
Declassify.
He's just stating that he's just stating that he had power at one point to do something, and then now he doesn't. That doesn't necessarily speak towards intent.
Right. Then let's point towards the
who does not have classified.
I think you're reading too much into the situation.
Two sworn affidavits in which he lied on and demonstrate, or at least tried to demonstrate, that he had given back the documents that they were requesting.
And what exactly did he lie? What was the lie?
That he returned them all.
That he returned them all. Well, yes. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about and maybe to the best of his knowledge,
which was falsifying records on those sworn affidavits.
Not necessarily, because when you sign an affidavit, hold on. Let me address this. When you
give us your great legal expertise, please, Tony.
Let me address this. So when you sign an affidavit, you swear, attest, and affirm that to the best of your knowledge of things, right? Now, if they can prove that he somehow knew that he had them, then I would say, yeah, you got them.
We knew that he did have them because of the statements that he made and because of the recordings that we have. Post the affidavits being submitted towards the courts. So, yes, we know.
Right. Well, like I said, I don't think you really know. I think you could say that.
How do I not? The timeline of it all. The timeline of when the affidavits are submitted and the recordings.
You can say that he had them, that he made that affidavit or whatnot, turned in some documents and this and that possibly he was unaware that he had more. But that wouldn't necessarily mean
the timeline of it, Tony. Because after the fact, after he had submitted sworn affidavits, there are recordings of him marked with the dates and times post him submitting those affidavits. So he knew that they were declassified and he shouldn't have had them.
Well, like I said, I don't know. I'd have to hear those.
So you haven't read. Have you watched the video of them moving the documents after the affidavit was signed? After he claimed he had returned them, he was moving them.
Moving them, so like I said,
of documents.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, that doesn't necessarily show that he knew anything about them, or maybe he thought they were declassified already, or something of that sort. Again, I can't speak to something that I don't know the details of.
The recording of him with the interview.
It's called he was hiding them, bro. It's pretty straightforward.
The recording of him in the
that doesn't necessarily specify that he is. Again, I think you guys are just conjecturing conspiracy theories. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I'm gonna take a line from RTP's.
Tony, you realize that intent does not can be proved circumstantially. You don't have to get into a person's mind. No. Listen.
Well, so by that same metric, then we can also, by that same metric, I want you guys to take that same energy. By that same metric, we can also prove that there's a coercive element moving against them.
May I make my one point, and then I will drop and let the men talk? Would that be okay?
Sure, Julie, go ahead.
Okay, it'll just take a second. I just wanted to speak briefly on the E. Jean Carroll case. That yes, indeed, the statute of limitations had expired. The state of New York passed the law on May 24th of 22, establishing a window from November 23rd of 22 to November 23rd of 23, allowing survivors of sexual assault 18 years or older to bring their case before the court. There was only that 1 year period in which they could do it. I also want to specify that E. Jean Carroll had a dress with DNA on it. Donald Trump's DNA, she claimed. Donald Trump would not provide his DNA. They could not compel him to provide it because it was a civil suit. E. Jean Carroll also, well, we'll just say the state of New York, they are very specific as to what constitutes rape. And that involves penetration with male genitalia. E. Jean Carroll testified that she was penetrated from behind, and she was not able to discern if it was his finger or his male sexual genitalia. That was the reason why, if they couldn't confirm it was a penis, they couldn't call it a grape. So that was the reason why they called it. So those were the only points I wanted to make on that. And if anybody wants to say some ignorant shit about, well, why'd she wait? Why didn't she come forward? We can have a quick discussion about that and how people are so quick to shame women and how the police harass them and question them and doubt them and want to know what you're wearing. Were you drinking? This was in the middle of the day in a dressing room. So
I think there's always going to be that
want
element.
to come at me for that?
When it comes to powerful people, I think that element's always going to be around that.
Tony, why is that the type of people you want to have a platform in our country?
What are you talking about?
I'm going to drop down because I don't want to be a part of that.
So, Amir, if you're going to make incendiary statements, I'm going to ask you to back them up. Please tell me how you know or assume any of my intent.
I don't know, because you've been defending Trump with your intent.
So I'm going to, can I respond?
So,
Amir,
hold on, no, wait, real quick, Amir, wait. So you're just going to throw out a random incendiary statement because why?
Tony.
No, Amir, answer. I want Amir to answer. Go ahead, Amir, answer.
I mean, just because you've been defending this guy with your life this entire life, and you've been doing runaround.
Real? Did I been defending him, or have Splendor and RTP be talking? And then as soon as Splendor left, you guys decided to turn all your leftist wrath on me for some reason. I don't know why, but okay, let's hear it. Okay, so Amir, so you're assuming something because you don't have anyone else to go at? Is that what you're doing?
Well, it's pretty obvious. I mean,
it's pretty obvious what, that I'm a Trump, that I support Trump? What? So like that means what exactly?
I mean, you've been just denying the evidence that everyone's been trying to
denying. What evidence? What have I denied?
Oh my God.
Well then, Tony, you're just trolling.
So you're just saying shit.
You're just trolling.
I think the fact of the matter is that
I'm raising issue.
If we go back and dissect every president and every person in the government, we're going to find that they all utilize the same systems. And Donald Trump said that when he was running, they all use the same shit. They all do the same shit. And when it comes to the women that are coming forward and stuff, I'd like to see them do a polygraph test that in the moment it wasn't consensual, or that they weren't motivated or driven for incentives that they knew that they were doing. So, I mean, there might be some in different cases, but I mean, come on, let's get real. None of them have to take polygraph tests. They just go in and say, yeah, he fucking grabbed me, or yeah, he did this, or yeah, he did that.
We don't use polygraphs anymore.
The polygraph in court, Wes.
So, but there's no way to know if they're telling the truth or not.
That's why there's a jury.
Why the preponderance of evidence would be a way to determine the truth.
If they don't come forward right away when it happens, why do they wait years?
Tap the screen, you guys. Or I'm going to tap the screen, please. Or
so now we're
shut out the comments. All right.
So
what's up, Bushmaster?
I was just going to say on that E. Jean Carroll thing. She wrote a book about Trump.
Here we go.
In that book, What Do We Need Men For? She does a statement of witnesses that testified in the civil court with her. On top of, she can't even remember if it happened in 95 or 96. So what do we need men for?
You know who also couldn't remember? Donald Trump was asked in his deposition. Trump was asked in his deposition to identify the woman in the picture. He thought it was his wife. It was E. Jean Carroll. So if we want to talk memories, his is pretty shoddy too.
Well, I mean, he's kind of an old man now, you know.
Oh, so now he's an old man.
So now it's an old thing, but also you support him and want him to run again. Okay, which one is it? Is he too old?
Hold on. Well, no, it's not because of that. It's because, here's the thing. Not only that, he's a world-renowned or world-famous businessman as well. Like, you don't, like, here's the thing. Half the people I interact with on this app, I fucking don't remember, and they come up to me and like, Tony, do you remember?
I know, half the time you pretend to not know me.
Like, well, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, Jada, no, I remember who you are. But
I mean, you blocked me and then unblocked me and then didn't know who I was.
Because you have a habit of being very fallacious about things.
Like what?
Well, you have a habit of lying about a lot of stuff.
What have I lied about today?
I just don't, that's what I'm saying.
Excuse me, Tony, can you answer that directly? What have I lied about?
I didn't say today.
You said okay, what's the habit of lies that I've demonstrated?
So I don't, again.
Can you answer that? What have I lied about in totality?
Again, Jaden.
Bro, substantiate that. So, you asked Amir to substantiate his accusation about you.
That has been my experience with you, because that has been my experience with you.
Okay, name one thing that I've lied about.
Great. Okay, so again, I just don't mess with
you won't answer.
No, the reason I won't answer is because
you don't have anything.
No, because you're taking this and you're making this personal now.
Fucking Amir did that a moment ago, and you pressed him on that. So I'm doing the same for you.
Just so you know, Jaden, I've been the one that's been bringing you up, even knowing that we have a rough or not so happy history.
Like
I've
what?
Been bringing you up.
What history?
Okay, great. So I've been bringing you up. And because you've been actually good faith so far today, and if you're gonna revert back to what you normally do, then there's no point in continuing on this conversation.
Okay, you're claiming that I normally lie. What do I lie about?
Hold on, that has been my experience with you again.
Okay, name an experience.
Great. So you asked a question,
and you won't answer it.
No, the reason is because
name one specific instance that I've lied,
okay, Jaden,
openly lied about you or anyone else.
This is your one warning, Jaden.
Okay.
Again, I said
my warning because
we're not going to turn because this is Christie's live.
Well, I want you to answer the question.
We don't make things personal here.
So yeah, you do.
Either you stay on topic.
Then why did you press Amir to answer the question?
No, because he said
he asked a personal question.
Because he said something
he asked a personal question and you pressed him. Did you not 5 minutes ago?
Yes, I pressed him about what he said.
So rule for me, not for thee.
Okay, that's your one warning.
No, don't bitch out.
And say this is
right.
What?
So you guys,
how do you call
serious
this
right
man
now?
a liar?
Yes, I am being serious because again, we're either stay on topic or you don't get to stay up. Either stay on topic or don't stay up. Now, Amir said something about what I said here. I just asked him. I asked him to elaborate. So go. So and that's what I did. What Jaden is talking about? Hold on. What Jaden is talking about is our past interactions, and I'm not interested in making this personal on Christie's live.
Okay. I won't make it personal.
Tony.
I won't make it personal. I'm just gonna say the last 30 minutes has been a conversation.
Sure.
About the evidence that was given to indict Trump, and you've consistently kind of defended that. So I asked you, I said,
sure.
And so is that not a thing, or am I just in a state of denial?
Is that not a thing? I said I am a Trump supporter. What does that show anything? What does that show? Because you seem to be insinuating a bunch of other things there.
I wasn't tell you what that shows.
I just asked.
Tell you what that shows, and then can we move to
great. Well, yes, I support Trump.
All right, I'm gonna tell you what that shows. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say that shows. You know what I'm saying? A general lack of empathy for humankind. I would say that.
So? How so?
Well, I mean, we could just point to you know what I'm saying Trump's policies on what to do with unhoused people if he's let back into office.
So you don't like his politics, and then you're just making connection that somehow means that anyone who supports him doesn't care about other people. How does that follow?
Yeah, well, are you serious? Like, quite literally, somebody's policy.
So you don't like his policies, and therefore you connect the dot that anyone who supports him, therefore also doesn't like humans?
You judge a person by their fruits. Do you not?
Uh-huh. Do I judge people by their fruits? What does that mean?
You judge a person by their actions.
Well, sure. I think you can definitely draw some things off people's actions.
So if I can judge that Trump is a bad person via his actions, then people who support somebody who is a bad actor is in fact a bad person.
What's your metric for what is bad? And then also, how is this comparable or differentiated from any other businessman or politician?
Good businessman also.
Yeah, he's infamous for being a terrible business person, for not paying contractors, for not treating people fairly.
Right. Great. So I think that would make him dishonorable, right? If you don't honor your contracts, for sure.
Yeah, so
I think you can definitely say that.
Why would I support somebody to be?
I definitely think you can definitely say that. Sure.
Hold on, Tony, because I've let you speak uninterrupted for most of this.
I know.
Why would I?
Let me. I'm
saying I allow you space to speak. I'm asking you.
Yeah, sure. You can speak. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Just relax, bro.
So if I have 3 daughters, if one of my daughters, you know what I'm saying, came home from college, right, and said, Dad, one of the boys at school grabbed me by the vagina, you know what I'm saying, and kissed me in the mouth without my consent, you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't then tell her to advocate that he be student body president. He should be removed from the school and put in jail. And you're like, nah, this person should be president of the United States, even though he admits to doing all of these, you know what I'm saying.
What does he admit to?
Are you going to wait a year to do something about it?
What does he admit to?
Are you going to wait years?
Here we are victim blaming again.
No, what does he admit to, Jones?
That he grabs women by the vagina. that he kisses them without their consent.
Wait.
Hold on, let me finish. That he walks into the dressing room of the Miss America pageant and the Teen USA pageant without giving them a warning.
When did he say this?
Yeah, when did he say that?
On Howard Stern.
No. I mean, how long ago was this?
Well, I don't know what difference that makes.
There's a conversation taped uncandidly from probably like 12, 13, 14 years ago, something like that.
Not the grab by the vagina, was it?
That was a while back.
Well, yeah, I guess because it's been 7 years since he was president. So yeah, fair enough.
Something like that. So
that doesn't. What does that mean? It still speaks.
What it means is that nobody is ever truly that polite in private, right? We all have a face that is acceptable, and then we all have a face that.
Oh nah, bro. I've never talked like that in private, nor would I.
Oh, dude, have you ever heard? Have you ever? Talk amongst each other.
I played college basketball.
Have you ever heard girls? I got 4 sisters, dude. Have you ever heard girls talk in private? Again, so
it's not even a conversation of private or public. So why would you want someone like that?
Well, because again, these were candid conversations that were recorded. Why would you want someone like that to run our country? Great. Okay. And for the same reason, I guess you guys are cool with giving
Tony,
Biden,
one sec. Tony, one sec.
Black person pass for not voting for him because you're not black if you don't vote for him.
Wait, Tony.
For the same reason that you're okay with Joe Biden, passing legislation that actually ended up incriminating a lot of black people, right?
Christie,
for those same reasons, I guess that apparently you're willing to give the pass as well.
Yeah. So. Hold on. My turn. Hold on. Is there anybody up here that's not participating? Because I'll cycle the panel.
No, some people haven't gotten an opportunity to yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the problem.
Yeah. So I want to say one quick thing. I agree, right, with the fact that Joseph Robinette Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. I agree with that as a black person. Liv, do you agree as a black person?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Jaden, do you agree as a black person?
I sure do. Thank you for having me back.
Great. So I'm going to say those 3 things. Then the next thing that I'm going to say is that 94 crime bill was quite literally sponsored and championed, right, by the Congressional Black Caucus. And as black people, we don't need white people telling us what we should and should not be, upset about. Thank you very much.
All right. And if you want to complain about a broken criminal justice system that horribly implicates black people, maybe we can talk about Trump pushing for the Central Park 5 to be executed.
Right. And you're talking about, have you read the newspaper article of that?
Yes. Do you want me to read it now?
Well, I mean, do you have contention with?
The fact that he's calling for the death penalty of them. Why would I not have
calling for the death penalty?
That?
But
yes.
Okay, hold on. Assuming, because at the time, he thought they were guilty, right?
So he's jumping to conclusions with an absence of evidence and wants them to be unalive. Say that they did go about.
So the man reacted on.
New York, excuse me. Say the state of New York did go about executing these 5 gentlemen, and they were exonerated posthumously.
All right.
Wouldn't that be a bad judgment on his part?
Sure, I guess so.
Right.
Like I said, so you're great. So you're right in the sense that no one. Hold on, wait. No one has ever, on some public venue at all, just reacted to something, right? Yeah, that's never happened.
Yeah, and also, can we just really point this out, that Biden said that if you don't vote for me, you're not black. But then you talk about a man that literally has had dinner with a known white nationalist. It makes no sense. Who supported it endorsed by the Triple K, another white supremacist organization, and you want to say that voting for that individual?
And Tony, it's not the fact that he made a rush judgment. He put out an $80,000 ad for this and maintained this position over the course of 23 years. That's not a rush judgment. That is his view. He legitimately believes that they should be dead.
Right.
Let's not forget about the fact that he said
overwhelming evidence and exonerations in their cases.
And he literally said even if they didn't do that, they did something, so they deserved it. He literally said that.
Right. Well, so
he's calling for people to be sharp.
I think you could probably definitely critique that he might have been too rushed.
Yeah, he wants shoplifters.
He maintained the position for 23 years. That's not a rush judgment. If you're wrong then and are still maintaining that you're correct, despite the evidence, then that's not a matter of poor judgment.
So you don't like what he said. You think his judgment is off. Great. Cool. Now what?
You're supporting that. The fact that he legitimately believes that they should be unalive.
How do I support that?
You're voting for him.
I haven't voted for him.
You're voting for him now.
You said you support him. You said
like I said, am I a Trump supporter in the sense that do I support things that he said and what he stands for? Like,
well, if you're
America,
that's
sure.
what you're doing.
Yes, I support America. I support America. I support some of the policies about bringing back jobs.
You can do that.
Right. It's the hypocrisy that I'm pointing out. You can't have a problem with the 94 crime bill and excuse Trump's judgment.
Again, what is the hypocrisy? Again, we can
because you're fine
do this with any politician or any businessman. You guys are just obsessed with him.
Right, but you're using the 94 crime bill to incentivize us to vote against Biden. Yet Trump's position on the Central Park 5 isn't enough to get you to vote against him.
I'm just pointing out that the same thing that you're saying that I'm doing, you guys do as well.
But you're not holding Trump to the same standard.
You're not exactly.
Well, like I said, what exactly am I not holding?
If you think the 94 crime bill is disqualifying, then so should the Central Park 5.
You think that I agree with everything they say?
Just a second.
But if you think it's disqualifying for Biden, then this should be disqualifying for Trump.
Tell me what I should be holding him to, and then tell me what my action should be in response. Go ahead.
Standards of decency.
Central Park 5, the classified documents case, Stormy Daniels. What more would you like? January 6th, the Georgia interference case.
Great. So tell me what my response should be.
Literally not voting for him.
Wait, that's
if that's not enough to get you to not vote for him, then what is? Does he have to say the N-word? Does he literally have to shoot someone in Fifth Avenue to lose your vote?
That's it? Hold on, wait. So you're just saying that because he said some things or did some things publicly that blew up in his face or whatever, or that he's been an asshole, which I said, yeah, the guy's definitely an asshole, right?
So you support an asshole? You support an asshole.
Lots of people are assholes.
It's what they do. It's not. This isn't a personality flaw, Tony. This isn't a matter of personality flaw. This is our national
500 company people are assholes.
This is
if you guys are going to keep trying to overtalk me, I'm going to overtalk you. Most people.
We live in a society where people purposely slip and fall at a gas station.
Wait, hold on. Let me get it. So Again, most people, you can literally do this to anyone. You can quite literally delve into anyone's past and find any number of reasons to hate their guts, right? And here's the thing.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
These aren't personality flaws, though.
If you've ever looked at the head of any Fortune 500 company.
Well, then maybe the head of a Fortune 500
all are borderline. They're all narcissistic, and they all have these similar tendencies. Pretty much anyone who is in the elite class will probably have.
So maybe they shouldn't be president of the United States.
The difference is that some people are probably just more overt, and some people are more covert about it. But they all have this kind of mentality. When you get to that level,
so maybe they shouldn't be president of the United States.
It's a very.
Hey, can you do me a favor?
Right,
hey, Tony.
great. So great. Then don't vote for him. You don't have to vote for him.
Yeah, Tony, can you? Okay,
but you are. Here's the difference.
Right. So do I support his policies? Absolutely. Has every politician made mistakes and done dumb stuff? Yeah. And do I agree with everything that every politician has ever done? Absolutely not. I supported Bernie Sanders for a long time until, but one thing I didn't even agree with Bernie Sanders on was his view on gun control. Right. So again, you can not like everything that a politician does and still believe that they're good, they're what's best for the country. And I think that's what Trump is.
So that's my question. So this is my question. Like skip Trump, right? Can you list 3 policies that the Republican Party has passed that support poor and middle class Americans?
The 3 policies that through under.
I'm asking you,
Trump?
Can you cite in the past 50 years 3 policies that the Republican Party has passed that supports middle and lower class Americans?
I would say that the Republican Party typically doesn't delve into the realm of social
so they don't
welfare.
Care about poor and lower class.
No, it's not about not care about. It's not about caring. So it's about enabling people. It's about enabling people to continue to be lazy.
In their bank account.
No, it's about enabling people to be more lazy. That's the Democrat side.
Okay,
that's why
how about this? Just 3 policies that benefit your life.
What, like from a Republican standpoint?
Yeah,
from the Trump presidency. Let's go from there.
I don't necessarily care, honestly.
What? Then where are you voting?
Like I said,
if it doesn't affect you one way or another, then what policies are you voting on?
Like I said, I think it's.
You said it was a matter of policy and not personality, but you can't name the policies.
Hold on, no, I said I just care about.
This is what I'm saying.
He's what's best for the country. This is the
problem when I have with this.
Which is what? What are those things?
Right. Well, so first of all, I think he definitely held He held a position in which he held more people responsible under Trump's presidency. The level of government federal indictments jumped from about
what does that even mean?
Who was held accountable in government?
Well, like I said, I think he was doing more to hold public officials accountable than anything.
And
right?
Like who?
In what?
He appointed a lot of judges at the federal level. He removed, and then also under his presidency, 1,000 indictments on average per year shot up to. Are you guys going to let me finish? Shot up to about 123,000 indictments during his 3-year presidency. So he obliterated the number of federal indictments. Like he shot it up way much, which means he was holding more people responsible.
Who was indicted?
It was more so that I cared that he was doing what I thought was best for the country. So
okay, so did he actually do it? Okay, now let's see what he did.
Let's talk, Amir, like respectfully. Liv's been sitting up here forever.
So if you're asking me what has he done for my life, I don't care what he does for me because it's my life. I'm responsible for my life.
So why
I just care that there is a secure and great country for me to live in so that I still have the opportunity.
Sure.
It's not Trump's responsibility to bail me out of my bad decisions. It's not Trump's job to give me any kind of free money. It's not his job to take care of me. It's my job to take care of me.
Can you stop pivoting?
All right, let Liv counter.
Yeah.
Hi, Liv.
Hey, how you doing, Christie? Right. So you still haven't answered the question you've obfuscated, right? I asked you
what question, and here's the thing: what is what does this have to do with anything?
You're cutting me off.
Wait, let Liv.
Well, then, because Liv isn't really asking anything substantial.
Yes, I am.
Well, you're not really answering anything substantial.
You're just being incendiary, Christie. That's what these people do.
All right, hold on. Let him still entitled. Let him speak. Go ahead, Liv.
Yeah.
Right.
So my question for you again is the majority of Americans are middle and poor and lower class Americans. Majority of Americans don't have $400 saved up, right? So I'm asking you, what policies have Republicans passed in the past 50 years that support the American people? Because as you said, it's about the country and our country being strong. How can our country be strong if our people are weak?
What you need is opportunity. It's you. It's on you to take care of yourself, Liv. It's really that simple.
Chris, can I interject on that point specifically? Amir, hold on a second. Yeah, can I interject in just a second, please, Christie? Thank you. I want to read, the Constitution, okay? I want to see what the Constitution says itself. Because he just said it's on the people, right? The beginning of the Constitution, right?
You're talking about promote the general welfare, right? You're about to cite that part, right?
Oh, okay. So you know this.
Right. And the general welfare is for you to have the opportunity and whatnot. And that actually is a clause.
80% of Americans die in the same or worse socioeconomic status they were born into.
That's not necessarily true when you look at a generational aspect. Every generation tends to be better off than the generation before it.
Is it okay? Can I say sorry?
Reduction. I just want to finish my point.
Break.
I just want to finish my point, and then you can pass it on to Reduction.
Mr. Jai, Mr. Jai, you could finish up, and then we'll move to Breeza.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't want to talk right now. I wanted to just.
Did she say Mr. Jive?
I think she needs Mr. Jones. Well, hang on, can I finish a point? I was just going to say that it's really difficult to hear Mr. Jones when Tony is speaking over him, and then saying, don't interrupt me.
Yes, because they're all talking to me at the same time.
You're literally doing it now.
All right.
So just let people finish, Tony, and it would be great.
Right. And they need to let me finish, Bruce. Don't come up here and police this live.
Hold on.
I want to say stuff too, but I just noticed this.
Great, you can.
Okay, wait, I'm back.
See, you're doing it now.
I'm here.
Well, okay, that's right.
I'm here. Hold on.
Because you're interrupting.
Mr. J, I'm here.
I'm Ms. J.
We need some feminine energy up in here. Mr. J, go for it.
My name is
Joe. We've got Tony.
Yeah, and I don't know what you mean by feminine energy. I'm literally. Oh, okay, got you. Okay, cool.
Hello.
Yeah, got it. I'm sorry, missed it. So here's the thing, right? 1 in 5 children go to bed without food every night. As Liv already pointed out, over 60% of Americans are $500 to $1,000 away from abject poverty. More than half of our country can't read above a 5th grade reading level. 1 in 7 households deal with food insecurity as a whole. Over 50% of Americans don't have access to clean water or fresh fruits and vegetables. I could go on and on and on and on and on. Our government only exists to make sure that the general welfare of the people is, positive. And if the government is not doing that, or if the political party isn't interested in the general welfare of the people, then that is the bad party, because that's what the establishment of the Constitution was for, to ensure the general welfare of the people. America doesn't lead in literally anything other than, you know what I'm saying, the
military spending
of the indigenous peoples and people of color within this nation, or the the differences in wealth, the wealthy class as opposed to the poor. I mean, we have 685,000 unhoused individuals in the United States. 685,000. That's nearly 750,000 people within our borders that don't have a home. And the crazy part is that more than 68% of this nation considers themselves Christian, right? But the Christian church, right, owns over 50% of the global wealth. The global wealth. And the entirety of that book talks about taking care of the poor and the unhoused and, the fatherless child and the widowed woman and prisoners and things of that nature. And we don't do any of that when we're overwhelmingly a Christian-led nation. It's fucking nuts.
If I could interject really briefly.
We got to pull our bootstraps up.
We are number one. We are number one in military spending and jailing people, putting people in prison per capita. So those are two things we do excel at.
Also, let's not forget the people that believe in angels.
In what?
Angels.
Oh, right.
The amount of people that actually believe in angels.
I mean,
and school shootings.
Yeah, school shootings, that one.
And the number one cause of death for children in America is guns.
Yes, it is. Absolutely, it is. Not abortions, but guns.
Also,
kids aren't aborted. Sorry.
Also, 100,000 people each year die because of lack of access to health care. So
that. Or like complications with diabetes because they can't afford their insulin.
Right. So when we ask, what has this party done for these people that we speak of, American citizens, the vast majority of American citizens, right? Then, we see, and you say nothing, that it doesn't matter, then they shouldn't exist as a party.
What should they do? What should the government do?
Whatever they can to ensure the general welfare.
And what is that?
Healthcare is a human right. Education.
Who pays for it?
Housing is a human right. The same money that we use.
Wait a minute, Tony. This is the thing that makes it bad. So as you asked him that question, let him answer it, and then but you're interrupting him.
Right, I know. Hold on, I'm engaging with a dialogue with him. Thank you.
No,
we don't need you. Go ahead. Continue, Jones.
Literally triggered right now.
No, I'm just. I would like him to stay on it. Go ahead.
He is, though. He's answering it for you. And
okay, so then let him.
Before he's done,
then let him.
Like you're doing
Great.
Right now.
Jones, can you me,
like
then
you're
let
doing
him.
To me right now. You
Great.
talk
then
over and
let
say
him
that.
talk.
Jesus Christ.
Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
Yeah. So, in terms of what do we do? We put billions of dollars, trillions of dollars into our military. We put billions of dollars into our police force, and then we say that we want to be tough on crime. Well, you know how you get tough on crime? Get tough on poverty. If you eliminate poverty, because we know that's the number one cause of crime, right? Then we don't have to worry about, hiring more police officers because we're taking care of the general welfare of the people.
How do you eliminate poverty?
By making sure that people have housing, that people make sure that people have food, that make sure that people have equitable education, by making sure that people have access to health care.
They're going to not be poor anymore?
If you have housing, education, access to health care, both your mental health care and your physical health care, access to nutritious foods and things of that nature, yes, then that is eliminating poverty. Absolutely.
So when people have those things, everything's going to be fine. They're not going to be poor. There's going to be no.
They would be markedly
the economic burden that they'll be facing for things like schooling, things like healthcare, things like transportation and housing won't be as felt as they are today.
Correct. It would be markedly better.
Or at least as significant.
Well, so
it would save them more.
So I agree that there's some kind of disparity between like classes as far as, you know, quality of life and whatnot, but I don't think that simply giving people stuff is the answer. I think opportunity is the answer, and I think definitely better wages. Sure. I think that could definitely, but I think the reason the opportunities need to be there is because people need to increase their skills and become more valuable, and in becoming more valuable, they'll be able to get those better paying jobs. I think that's the way that we help people. And the reason that I think people have this view of the Republican Party or the right that we don't help people is because oftentimes we tell you to pick yourself up. And so I'm in favor of providing opportunities for people to better themselves, and via having, you know, that betterment or educational opportunity or training opportunity, they then get, hold on, let me finish. Then they then get access to those better paying jobs, and they pay for themselves the quality of life.
Okay, what would elaborate on that?
Huh? They're wrong for many reasons. First, if you have something as simple, so you're saying they're going to, not a single employer will hire more people if they don't have the need for it, right?
I guess it depends on the employer. Like, which employers are you talking about?
That's just basic economics, right? Like, if you don't have the need to hire another person in your store, let's say, to sell groceries, you're not going to hire them, right?
And just look at that power. That's almost unstoppable.
I guess if, businesses don't hire people they don't need, sure.
Exactly. So they will need more people when what? When there's more demand.
Are you talking about when we have a higher gross domestic product? What are you talking about?
I can finish. Maybe I could just finish it.
Yeah, sure.
And then we could talk. Yeah. So the only way that companies will hire more people is when there's more demand for whatever it is that they're selling, their product or their services.
Sure.
And so in that sense, the more money that the buyer, the buying class, their power, that buying power has, that can contribute to more sales from that store for their services or goods or whatnot, right? That's when they will hire someone else. So to say that pull yourself up by your own bootstrap, you know, that's kind of like.
That wasn't all I said. Hold on. Before we said that wasn't all I said. What else did I say, Breeza?
Wait, hold on.
Because I just want to make sure you were paying attention.
Oh, I know, but hold on 1 second. What were you going to say, Mr. Jones? That's saying what, or was it Liv?
Is an old, you know what I'm saying, Scottish saying, right? To pull yourself up by these bootstraps, lift yourself up out of the water by your hair, by like, you know what I'm saying, like to pull yourself out of you know, drowning by your hair. It was meant to be a joke, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was never meant, you know what I'm saying, to be something that was actually possible. So pull yourself up by the bootstraps was meant to make yourself levitate, which is we know is impossible.
Yeah, that's
exactly. And then I also wanted to point this out.
Right.
I also wanted to point this out too, though, right? So when we talk about the general welfare of the people, we understand that in the private sector, trickle-down economics unequivocally doesn't work. It doesn't work. But where it does work is in the public sector, because we know things like welfare, Social Security, food stamps, the stimulus checks. Those things are beneficial to our economy. So when you uplift the poorest and the lowest class out of abject poverty, it's better for our overall society.
Exactly. Can I pick up there?
That's better for our life.
Yeah. So I agree. Hold on. So I agree. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. My whole example was what Liv just gave. Right? So if people have more money in their pockets, these things that you call social services, everything that Liv just described, that would contribute to the overall economy.
I agree.
But instead what you have is a situation where consistently the Republican Party, since Reagan, has been giving tax cuts to the rich in this country under the auspices of BS trickle-down economics, while all the while subsidizing corporations like Walmart. And what employees benefit or take advantage of the social welfare systems? It's Walmart employees, paid employees of these big corporations. And so we're basically, our tax dollars are going to subsidize Walmart and other corporations because they don't want to pay living wages.
And I just want to make
Walmart does that. Yeah, I agree that they do that. They do that on purpose. They incentivize, or they tell their employees, and then give them they'll give them the forms to apply for certain social welfare.
But yet we're giving these corporations and these ultra wealthy tax breaks galore. So we're basically subsidizing the ultra wealthy in this country. That's what's
right.
happening.
So yes, I agree with what you're saying, like corporate.
And that's the Republican Party. Thank you very much.
Well, hold on. What it is I think it's just a breaching of a technicality, right? So I agree that this is an abuse that happens, meaning that companies like Walmart will do that. Let's say they'll get a tax break or something like that. And usually this tax breaks sometimes will come with the stipulation that they must use it towards payroll or new employees or something like that. And maybe they will hire some amount of this and that, or whatever the minimum amount to get that break is, right? But then they'll probably use that newly freed income somewhere else, right? So I agree that this happens, and I agree that it's a problem. The hard part is though, how do you nail people if they're technically still following what this tax break or stipulation allows, right? So it's just a battle of technicality. These corporations take advantage of the wording, and it's
yeah, you don't give them the tax cut. Are they lazy? Or would you classify the corporations as lazy?
I think the corporations just are really good. They got these large legal firms that whose entire focus is to find a way to trip up the wording or do something on a technicality so they can get away with it or save money. I think that's entire people's their entire job is to find ways to make the company more efficient.
More like
Mike,
just
hold on.
hold on.
I have a follow up for that. It's interesting.
Right.
Why is it that when a corporation does that and they take in free money, it's smart and it's their way of like cleverly subjugating the system, and when poor people do it, they're lazy?
I don't think if you're a poor person or whatever and you find a way to do something like legally, then I wouldn't say it's wrong or whatever this and that. I'd say you're just.
But your term was lazy. You said.
No, when did I say people? I'm talking about.
You said that we don't give people things because it makes them lazy.
What I said, I'm talking about the overall mentality of just giving people free stuff. Yes.
So here's
I think you're conflating a statement that I said before with.
I'm just comparing your reasoning
with a policy.
Here's a basic economics question for you. I'm a customer. I walk into Walmart and I am going to do a transaction. Which way does the money go in that transaction? Does it go from me to Walmart or from Walmart to me?
I think we just have this
you give them money, but you also get a kind of wealth in return, which would be the groceries or the food.
Well, I get an item of value in return, right?
Sure.
So they give me a product, I give them money. So
in exchange of value.
If you're going to stimulate the economy, should you put the money directly in Walmart's hands where they don't have an incentive now to sell a product because they
so I get where you're going with that, and I just think what our disagreement is on methods of getting pushable, right? And this is why I think a lot of people have this misconception that Republicans don't, or the people on the right don't want to help, is because we don't
push and right.
Or these opportunities. Here's an opportunity to get free training or certifications or things like that, right? There's state level programs that I've constantly told young people who are like young dudes who are 18 and stuff. I was like, get this, you can get your CDL, you can get your license for free, right? So these things exist, and I think that.
Does anybody know how much education funding has been cut over the last 50 years?
It's a lot, but before we go there, Tony, remember how you said you agreed? We just did this whole thing and you said you agreed. I think Jeff was talking about the same thing, right? It's the buy side, like it's buy side economy. Essentially that if you do give that money, however you give it, right? Whether it's through welfare or, whatever, like we had after COVID happened, that still helps the overall economy. And you agreed with that. So it's not like we're under a misconception.
Wait, welfare? No, I didn't necessarily agree. So what we disagree is in the method.
Yeah, even with the method.
That's I think you heard me say something and you're just interpreting it the way that you want. What I said is I'm not saying that it's not good for people to have more money. What we disagree on is how people should get more money.
I understand. I wanted to get there with you for 1 second, right? But you didn't agree on you didn't agree on the methods. We weren't talking about that. We were just talking about simply if they have more money in their wallet, what are they going to do?
Yo, background noise.
Somebody in the rainforest? What is that?
Whoa.
Okay.
So if they have more money in their pocket, they're going to go out and spend it, regardless of where they get that money from. So, and then you suggested that there's a misconception about Republicans, how they don't want to help people. I don't think it's a misconception as much as it is a fact. They don't.
How do you know this to be a fact?
Hold on, because I can give you some examples. One is they want to cut the age for Social Security.
What is Social Security?
It's an entitlement.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with that. Hang on? See, that's the thing.
But here's the thing.
Smiled about
so it's a payout. Right. Can't continue to work.
I think you just proved my point.
No, it's a payout for people who legitimately cannot work.
I think
can I please point this out real quick?
Don't want to. That's my point. Because you call it an entitlement. Yes. Well, one second. Because you think that it's an entitlement. You give it that name, right? And it is. It's just something you put money into, and now you should be living that. You said Republicans. There's a misconception they don't want to help people. You don't want to help old people, so they have to actually go out there and get jobs at Walmart, getting paid.
I think the fairest way to help people would be if they contributed to the system for for the amount of time. I think, yes, they are entitled to their security, right? And their retirement or whatnot, their retirement plans through their jobs, right? So I think that's how you help them. Because I think there is always going to be a state of people that just don't want to be, they're very aimless in society and don't really contribute a whole lot. And unfortunately, they still have human rights. And because
they're
of
called
that,
the 1%.
All right. So can I
the homeless population? I mean, I don't
you missed my point.
I can't speak too loud.
Don't let them get away with that.
Yeah, I'm not. We're not going with that. So
human rights nonsense.
Yeah, can we stop with
what?
Like, okay, first and foremost, right? Can we stop acting like neo-colonialism and corporatism having created an oligarchy in America, and corporations like or organizations like ALEC and the Heritage Foundation having passed laws, policies, and procedures that increase profits to
okay, Liv.
Also, can we also point out?
Can you not interrupt, please?
He's just giving his speech that he gives everywhere he goes.
He spoke for 10 seconds.
Can I also point out?
I've heard him speak. He always gives a speech everywhere he goes. Great. I don't care if you care, Jaden.
Okay, stop talking.
Can we also point out that if we were to look in the past 50 years, Republican economic policies have never worked for the American people, and the idea of picking yourself up by your bootstraps doesn't work? Like, it has never worked, because if in fact it did,
how do you know it hasn't worked?
Would be better off now. You cannot give me a presidency. You cannot give me a generation where Republican policies have actually benefited the American people. You cannot. And it's very interesting, and my last point is this. It's very interesting that it wasn't until the 1960s that we started looking at social programs and people that utilize social programs as being lazy. That is very interesting to me.
Well, so like I said, again, I think things like that are based on retirement, meaning you've contributed an amount of the system to your whole life. I think, yes, you have earned that. You deserve that. I think,
you made my own point for me.
Right. I know where you're going with that. When it comes to like points like Social Security, which has been expanded to include a lot of other things, I feel like a lot of it just isn't realistically, fair. I think it expands and gives too much away. Gives too much away to people who haven't earned it.
They want to raise the age. Republicans right now want to raise the age right now.
Breezaza, what is your solution for the fact that Social Security?
There's a conversation happening right now.
Lift the cap on taxable income for Social Security is the solution, and fund it through 2058.
You continue to talk about Republican policies and ideology in regards to economics can benefit the American people, but you cannot give me an example in the past.
Wait, what did I say? What did I say?
I answered the question.
You're just adding stuff that I said, Liv. Liv, you just
give me an example.
You're just saying stuff that I didn't say. Now, this is why it's not.
Give me an example.
Most of the time.
No, you're running. Your
interactions have.
No, can you give us an example of like when a Republican policy trickle down? Yeah, just one example.
Give me an example.
Again, no. So, like I said, I've already described to you the mentality. You just don't think of it as Republicans helping. You don't think of the job training programs and this and that as us helping.
Yeah, I don't think of that because you just said, unfortunately, they have human rights.
Giving people stuff as help, and just like I said, that's just not the right leaning, the Republican way.
Hold on.
Can I please?
Great. So again,
we could just look.
You just keep answering the same question again.
And the Keynesian
again, it's really as simple as you just give people opportunities to improve themselves, to become more valuable, and to get for themselves the life they deserve.
Underneath the Keynesian model, unions were stronger. They have better wages, and they have more support for whole families. Taxes cover more public entities. Hey, right or wrong? Is that right or wrong? Okay. The Keynesian model.
I don't know what the hell you're talking, like what you're referring to, Liv, because like again, you just say the same damn talking points everywhere you go.
No, you don't even know economics, bro. You're not equipped for this conversation. Right. Stop sitting here trying to get galloping.
Okay, what we weren't even talking out to you. Like, I wasn't even talking to you, Liv.
Just a second.
Again, great. Then shut up and let someone else talk. Then, Liv.
All right.
I have been quiet this whole time.
No, you keep interjecting with the same damn talking points you go to with every.
What did I say?
You do it like you're on a campaign tour.
What did I say?
Everywhere you go, it's the same shit.
What did I say?
Fuck.
What did I say? What did I say? Still, man, my argument.
Can we go back?
Liberty, did you have something to say?
Can we go back to the question?
Yeah, I was just going to say opportunity isn't the solution for things like the deficit in the healthcare field and the fact that people are annually losing their healthcare coverage. It's the fact that there is too much opportunity in that field. The fact that there's too much private entities intertwined in all of the insurance packages and things that people have to purchase that still don't cover their basic necessities. That is the problem. So high deductibles, high premiums, and high co-payments is the fact that more opportunity, more capitalism is in our healthcare system, not the fact that more government is. So if you get more opportunity, you can work, you can go to a job that has healthcare for you, but that's only at the whim of your employer if they choose to purchase said healthcare program. And that may not even be a good program. So then you got to purchase insurance, and you're still faced with a high deductible and copayment.
So I agree,
how is
Jaden,
opportunity going to get you out of that? Then you got to start a GoFundMe and shell out a shit ton of money for that.
Not necessarily. Like I said, I agree. Here's the thing. Everyone has to start off at the whim of someone, right? And I think the mentality that you have is that somebody should just freaking have these things given to them. And that's not the Republican way. The Republican way is that, like, do what you need to do. Be a good trooper, right? I've had to follow bosses that I don't like. So I've had to follow bosses that I don't like, right? Lots of them and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I was disciplined in my practices, I sucked it up, I saved, I worked hard, did a lot of overtime that I was able to get my own truck. Right. And once I got my own truck, I was able to operate the way that I wanted to. And I got to be my own boss more of the time. And I got to say no whenever I felt like it a lot more. Now, always did I get to say no? No, because I need money and I still need to contract with people. Right. But the point is that I've maneuvered myself into a position where I have more control and more power. And that power is only growing because I have this mentality.
Got it. See, that's wonderful.
Okay, you purchased a truck.
Can I say something? Wait a minute.
All right.
Can I just say something?
Not just one.
To Tony. So I think that's amazing that you were able to do that. I think more people should be able to do that. But even though while you were doing it, would you not agree that having healthcare during that time when you were building, even now, having a healthcare system that is efficient, that is universal, would have been beneficial for you and made it even easier to get to where you're at now?
I don't think, here's the thing, because I've always had healthcare through any kind of employer I've worked for.
Yeah, it shouldn't be contingent upon your employer.
You keep bringing up your soul experience. Okay, so I need to work harder to have my life-saving medicine at the age of 24.
No, you don't have to always work hard. Sometimes it's just a matter of discipline. Like, again, I'm not here to tell you how to live life. I'm not here to tell you how to live life. It's not my job to tell you how to live life.
I need to work harder, and I need to be
I'm just telling you that you have it within yourself to elevate yourself. It's just a matter of, do you have the discipline and the will to do it?
I need to be more
just be lazy and have discipline.
$500 inhaler.
Hold on. Right. Tony, I have a question for you, because there was something you said a little bit ago, and I kind of wanted everybody to get their points out, but this is going to determine how far I engage going further. You said that there was a lot of people, I'm paraphrasing because it was a bit ago, there were a lot of people in this country who don't do a certain thing, but unfortunately they have human rights. What did you mean by that?
Oh, well, I'm talking about is let's say the homeless population, vast numbers of people who are out on the street, things like that, right? They have human rights in the sense that, we're going to have to deal with them. We're going to have to, and we can't just displace them most of the time. And we had to do something with them, or we have to deal with it because they're all over the place in the cities and stuff. And unfortunately, a lot of these people don't want to contribute, or they're in this situation because maybe they just don't care. I don't know. My point is that this becomes a burden that society has to deal with.
Weird that you assign more agency to that. I want to grant him his toys to play with. Let's say we have person X who just doesn't want to contribute to society, right? They're unhoused. They don't have any skills to speak of for whatever reason. I'm going to go ahead and grant you that they don't want to. What should happen with that person?
Well, like I said, I don't think they should. I think anything that anyone wants to do for them would have to be out of the charity and their own willingness. Barring that, I would say,
general, what should happen with that person?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
If they didn't have human rights.
Yeah, no, like, I just want, in your view, what fate should befall that person?
What do you mean, what fate? I'd say that basically your own actions or inactions would bear your own fruit. Basically, you'd reap what you sow. If you've given nothing, if you've done nothing, you get nothing.
So let them starve.
It's not about let them starve. It's they let themselves starve. No. Can this person work?
Can I ask it? Yeah,
that's not always the case, though.
Let's say they can. Let's say
so. Then they can
able to work. Like, are they capable? You know,
let's say they are twice my size. They have the energy of a bull. But they just don't want to. We let them starve?
It's not letting. Am I letting them if I just don't give you free shit? If I don't give you my stuff, am I letting you starve?
Yes, you are.
So you have that individual has. Hold on, real quick.
No, definitionally, okay. Look.
I'm not going to.
So Jeff, does that individual have a right to someone else's resources then?
No.
They have a right to live.
But you're insinuating that they would have a right to someone else's resources, correct?
Okay, but we can talk more about the government.
In virtue of what? Hold on. This is so simple. In virtue of what are they your resources?
Okay, hold on, Bree, hold on. Can I just go down a line question? So as far as I believe in social programs, yes. For people who are incapable of working, I believe we as a society, you know, it's our duty as community, et cetera, to take care of these folks. I'm not against social programs in that regard. But for someone who is physically capable of working and just doesn't want to, I don't understand a justification for why they're entitled to those same resources.
Because we don't want to let people starve.
Be a weak argument.
Yeah.
No. Because in the same way that doesn't
if I can make an argument,
I'll answer that.
Discuss about having more.
This is so bad, and you have logic in your username.
Yeah,
it's not an argument.
I really want to.
It's just a statement.
No, you haven't made an argument. That's what she's pointing out.
I'm not making an argument.
Well, I want to answer it.
Can we let Molly talk? She just got here. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Molly.
really quickly. In the U.S., over 40% of food, very good, useful food, is wasted. This is the richest country, and over 20,000 people die of starvation every year in this country. There is no excuse. Absolutely none. I don't want to hear excuses for people starving to death.
Or kids going hungry, and they don't even want to give them lunch lunches at school.
And people need to understand 20,000 people. That's my whole county that I grew up with in Mississippi dying of starvation.
Molly, I don't disagree, but do you agree that someone who's capable of going out and able to work, physically able to work or at least contribute in some way, do you think that they should be contributing?
So if they're not contributing, I totally agree. Whenever I do argue for socialistic programs, I do a lot of the time like to say, if you're not contributing, then maybe you should not be able to reap the benefits. However, most of the time, why are they not benefited? Or I'm sorry, why are they not participating or contributing? Yes, is it because
Jeff said it's just
some sort of mental illness? They may be physically able, but what if
Molly,
they're mentally unable?
Jeff said they clearly just don't want to.
Yes.
I think Jeff
how do you determine that?
Honestly, again, no, guys. I don't think.
Let me just respond to that.
We're not there.
The reason I said they don't want to is I wanted to grant Tony the premises to play with. We know that it's not just that they're lazy and they don't want to. We know that. We know that for a fact. As a matter of fact, when Tony says that there are people that are lazy, he actually followed it up and said it 2 or 3 times in this conversation. I'm not sure how many of them there are. So we know that that's not the thing. But I'm saying even in the fantasy world where it was the thing, right? If we're saying that we don't want people to starve, then the entailment is we don't want people to starve. If we want people to reap what they sow, right? Come what may, then what they want to do or what they're able to do is irrelevant, right? It's just, hey, they didn't make good decisions. They got bad grades in elementary school. They got bad grades in high school. Now they don't have the skills to work at a startup tech company.
Well, that's why whenever I came in, I brought up that literally almost half of the food in this country is wasted. Good, useful, edible food is wasted. That's just being thrown away. People that aren't doing shit for themselves, they should be able to eat that if it's just going to go in the garbage.
Yeah, and I also just want to go back to like facts, right? Not individual feelings on what is ethically moral or what is morally good, right? I want to talk about how under the Keynesian model and it switched under the Reagan presidency to a neoclassical model and how it impoverished 80% of Americans, right? How people are living in abject poverty, not having enough food under this new model. How this is a Republican model that doesn't work for the American people, right? Underneath the Keynesian model, people have better wages. They pay taxes cover more of the amenities in society. Families were stronger, right? So like this Republican model of capitalism doesn't work for the American people, and it disenfranchises the American people. We can look at the stats and the data and make an abject assertion to say that is true, right? So the idea that you would advocate for people to starve under a broken system that exploits people is absolutely inhumane.
And it's also, this is the richest country. We send help and aid to other countries when they're going through humanitarian crises, but whenever we're experiencing them, I don't see shit being done for the 20,000 starving people in the U.S.
And by the way, I don't think laziness is going to deter my capability of assessing that there should be a level of humanitarian aid towards all people, whether they're working or not. Because overall, there are benefits towards helping even the very lazy, even the most productive, such as them not dying on the streets, even if they are lazy. No one should be dying on the streets. No one should be going hungry. No one should be having to claw at drugs and stuff like that for their livelihoods to persist. That shouldn't be the case.
Right. And someone in the comments, Josh in the comments said that, not being lazy shouldn't, the punishment for that shouldn't be to die. Right, the capital punishment.
I don't think anyone said the punishment should have some form of.
No, but imagine. But there's still benefits of helping out lazy people.
Right, you could potentially if you're hungry for a long time. And also, there's another aspect to this that I think maybe it is about what Liv was talking about, which is we have certain responsibilities in society towards each other as well. And I think Jeff was talking about that too. I think a lot of the problem with the whole pull yourself up by the bootstrap and the Republican rhetoric is it dismisses that. But we need each other. We have certain obligations to each other in a society that you can't completely dismiss, and that should be that, right?
So, Breeza, are you saying that people have a positive right? Wait. So, Breeza, are you saying that people have a positive right to your resources?
No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is this. No, that's
right.
not what I said. That's not what I said.
I'm just saying.
Can you define positive rights, Tony?
Before he does that, there are many theorists that actually suggest.
Go ahead, look it up.
No, a positive right is something owed. A negative right is duty.
See, he's looking it up.
Dude, I'm clipping my nails.
About in that sense, I was talking about.
Jaden, you do know that I debate this stuff all the time, right?
Not well.
Even as a United States.
What are you talking about? Not long.
Even
I said well.
We can't
even as a United States citizen, I think that there's a contractual agreement.
Exactly.
I said well.
I think Liv is trying to speak, but his voice is low. So
I can't. So even then, right? Forget positive rights. I would pose that the United States Constitution, as a United States citizen, is a contractual agreement, as Jones already stated earlier, right? For the social welfare of the people. Right?
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, there's an obligation by the United States government to make sure that
the United States government gets money from the citizens, though. So that would technically be a contractual agreement.
So it's a social contract. That's why we pay our taxes.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
You just made my point.
I was saying to you guys. You just made it.
You said it's between. You said it's the government's responsibility.
But the government is made up of the people, and the people have we as the people have an obligation
money to the revenue of taxes, right?
That's the people vote in the representatives. They are the government, correct?
All right, so logic here. How about this?
We don't get any representation.
Okay, here, I'll ask you the same question.
Guys, please, can we let Steven test his... I'm sorry, but Steven's hand has literally been up for 3 minutes.
Let me just ask Logic just one question. Yes, I just want to ask Logic.
I just want to make a few points and I'll get out of here.
I got you. I just want to ask Logic one
question. Let Liv finish and then I'll let you go.
One question. All right, so Logic, can you name 3 Republican policies that have benefited the poor and working class in the past 50 years?
Yep. I'm not arguing for Republicans. So
not since Eisenhower had the Republican president supported the rights of the working class in this country. He's the last president to support unions in this country and literally encourage people to join unions so they'd have the same power that a company has. A company doesn't produce anything unless they have a contract with those they want to sell to.
Sure.
The American worker deserves that same privilege to have a contract so they know exactly what they're entitled to for their labor.
Sorry, Stephen, were you talking? Which president were you speaking of? Just
Eisenhower. He's the last one that literally encouraged people to join unions, and that's what's wrong now. People are finally haven't had enough of it. The auto workers stood up because they said, "Hey." The CEO made $20 to $30 million a year. The company made billions in profits, and they demanded their part of the profits. Without workers, there'd be no profit. That's the way it is in this world.
Absolutely.
No profit. Profit is money stolen from workers, basically. Without profit, companies couldn't stay in business. So I'm not negative on business. I'm pro worker as well. I feel like a worker has the same right to have a contract, just like when they produce products. Every worker should have that right.
One more thing, can y'all engage with what I said though, in regards to the neoclassical model of capitalism versus the Keynesian model, Tony, and how under the neoclassical model of capitalism, it impoverishes 80% of the people. Can you engage with that, Tony?
I've actually never heard of that.
I agree with you, brother.
I've only heard of neo-feudalism, which is what we're experiencing now.
And Eisenhower was under the Keynesian model, by the way.
Exactly.
Okay.
It was the time when.
What do you need me to engage with?
Exactly. Excelled more than any other period in the history of the country was during Eisenhower.
Right.
Full employment.
Yeah, what you said about Eisenhower was basically
about 40% of the population belonged to unions, and ever since then, companies been shipping their jobs offshore to get cheap labor. But when the products come back here, they don't lower the price. They have more sales, despite the 20%, the 80% reduction in labor costs. They have they put things on sale, but they don't respond to the reduced labor costs. Things are, they say, oh, people are used to paying this much money. Even though our labor costs are 80% less, we're going to keep it at that price and we're going to make more profit, and that's going to make our stock go up.
That's the problem with capitalism in general, right? That's the of capitalism. Their whole goal is, this chaotic, just make as much and reduce the price as much just for profit and for the stockholders, the prices for the shares. So it's not at all thinking about the workers or the consumers.
Right. And what I love most about these discussions and what I hear often on this app are Republicans complaining about the cost of groceries and gas and everything. That's the Republican dream, is for corporations to charge as much as they want without raising any wages, without incentivizing people to actually have some kind of break at the end of the day. That's been the end game. That's not true. And now
so when it comes to
true.
But they don't want to think about it.
They decided that corporations were people with Citizens United, and now this is what people do. Jack up their fucking prices so no one can be priced. Okay, well, make an argument against it, Tony.
Well,
like I said, so I'm saying when it comes to pricing and stuff like that, right, what you're talking about, corporations are people, you're right. I'm familiar with what you're talking about, right? Because when you look at how person is defined under the United States Code, right, it's meant to include persons, or persons can also be corporations as well, which
yes, that's fine. Let's not like get into Citizens United. I think there was a bigger point being made, if that's okay. Right. Would you relate back to the bigger points?
You all realize that Toyota CEO
Republicans wanted less government involved with capitalism, so capitalism has run rampant and has priced people out.
20 to 30 billion a year, or million, excuse me. 20 to 30 million per year.
Stephen, you're kind of talking over people.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just aggravated by the whole chain of events. There needs to be campaign reform in this country. Nothing's going to change until that occurs.
I am right with you, Stephen. Neither side has taken it on to fully tackle it successfully. I would love to see it.
Yeah, and I also just want to point out as well that
I hope we can do something about that.
Let Liv finish what he's saying.
Yeah. When we talk about like even after the pandemic, with all the pandemic relief funds, how corporations are still holding like $2.7 trillion just because they don't want to hire more people or expand business, and how they don't want to lift wages.
Yeah,
like,
what does that tell you?
Is sitting stagnant in corporate America right now.
Yeah.
And
why do we think that is?
You're right, Liv.
Why do we think that is? We think that because of what? Go ahead, but Jaden just explained it as well. But go ahead, right?
Yeah, so the reason is that corporations essentially is about maximizing profit, right? And so if you can, capitalism is built on scarcity, right? If there are rich people, there have to be poor people, right? And so by that function, right, corporations operate off of profit, right? So the only way that they can increase profit is by cutting wages, right? And they lobby individual corporations like ALEC, right? Corporations like the Heritage Foundation to lobby and pass laws and legislatures to maintain the oligarchy,
benefit themselves,
right?
Prices and costs, right? But both of those hurt the consumer and which is the same as the employee.
Well, and those class divides happen under every single system. There is no perfect system where everyone's equal, everyone's rich. That doesn't exist. Like, sure, I want to live in utopia too.
I know, but I think socialism
that,
does and can work. That's not utopia. Maybe communism.
Hold on, you interrupted, so you didn't even know what I was going to say. So anyway, I am a capitalist, but I do think that we need social programs. And one thing that I wanted to bring up, and I don't want to shift the conversation, but one of the biggest problems that I see with capitalism or running into with capitalism in this country is how many immigrants we let in each year. We let in 1.5 million immigrants each year. But it would be difficult to implement social services like free education, free healthcare, while having such
not really, because immigrants pay more into those federal programs than they get back in services.
You just end up hiring more teachers. What's wrong with that?
Did you hear what I said? Immigrants pay more into these federal programs than they get back. Immigrants pay more into the federal government than they get back in services.
Yeah,
agreed.
There's also a work shortage.
I'm talking about.
But hold on, even with the school thing, you're like, that's not going to help with the education system because there'll be more kids here, right? Well, if there are more kids here, we'll hire more teachers. That's good, isn't it? That should be a good thing.
I think you're twisting what I.
14-year-olds can work now without their parents' permission.
Wait, what did you say then?
I said it would be harder to provide free education, meaning like free 4-year higher education after high school to people.
No, it wouldn't, because now they're
free healthcare.
I explained why it wouldn't, because immigrants would pay for it.
I listened to Jaden, and I'm taking that in, and this isn't something I'm...
Okay.
Like, I wasn't trying to make a bold claim. I was just kind of saying, like, this is something that I've heard, and I'm glad you guys are giving me opinions on it. I'm not anti-immigration. I don't think we should build a dang wall. This is Earth. We're all human. I think that shit's dumb. So, yeah, I appreciate it.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, though. You know what I mean? I'm glad that, you want to engage in that discussion, but a lot of people do hear that, right? Like what you said earlier, and but the facts just don't match it, because they always
talk to people in like Denmark and a few other countries that have these sort of social programs. It's way harder to immigrate.
Host, is it okay?
It is harder. They restrict immigration
Christie,
to simply control the population somewhat. But everyone's happier. If you look up the index, so the happiest countries are Sweden, Denmark, Norway.
But anyway, going back to what you were saying, sorry about the education thing, right? Like even if it's higher education, then Josh is in the request. We didn't want to let them up. Anyway,
I'll get him up. Hold on a second.
Okay, thank you.
Oh shit! Oh damn it! My bad. Somebody else dropped extra. I didn't know that person was going to drop. My bad.
Josh. They are very, very smart on many topics. But I was just saying, so yeah, even with higher education, like Jaden said, they're going to be contributing more. So first, with not even higher education, just regular, now you're just going to have to hire more teachers, which is obviously great for the economy. Now there are more jobs. And higher education, if they're legal, they'll be able to pay into that even more. And it will expand it in general for everyone, because the demand will be there.
Right. So...
Well, there's a high demand for teachers now. I mean, a lot of teachers are quitting their jobs.
So, Josh, did you have some opinions, apparently? Because I saw you commenting pretty strongly.
I don't But I actually take a position that as a society we have an obligation.
Wait. No, but I mean, did you have something with like regarding me because you were commenting about me apparently in the chat?
No,
he's heard.
Now that he's what the hell? Can we just let them speak about what they want to?
Yeah. No, I just want to make sure we're good because apparently he had some things to say about me in the comments.
Oh well.
Yeah, that's fine.
Good, Josh.
Yeah. Hi, Josh. What did you want to say, babe?
Yeah, I was just saying that I think as a society we have an obligation to harm mitigation. I think that the notion of a universal property ethics is pretty nonsensical. I think it's very, very easily refutable with numerous reductios. I think that capitalism creates a culture of rugged and radical individualism that prioritizes profit over people in a very obvious sense. I think we have a moral obligation as a society, though, to promote individual well-being. And I don't think that the culture that capitalism promotes that idea. So I guess those are my thoughts on a simplistic basis.
So you said like harm reduction, right? And we were talking about social contract and also like...
Well, I don't know if it's really indexed to a social contract. It's just going to be indexed to a harm mitigation principle.
Right. And then, and Josh, by harm mitigation, does this mean basically getting somebody or mandating them to give up their resources to somebody else?
Yeah, if you're referencing like taxation as a pragmatic policy, sure.
Right. Okay. And so then where does the buck stop? At what point? Yeah, like at what point can you just justify? Because it sounds like if you're talking about harm reduction, and that's your justification for using anything like that, right? Then basically you can just justify anything as harm reduction, and essentially.
No, not true. It's like a co-op, though. It's like we all take a stake into something, and we all have that stake, and by taking it away,
so we have a choice.
Now we all have.
So we have a choice.
We have a more.
Okay, I'm talking to Josh Breezaza. I'm talking to Josh. Great. Yes, yet you keep talking. Go ahead, Josh. Can you answer?
Yeah, if we're talking about the thresholds of social obligation, I think in general there's going to be vagueness when we talk about the thresholds of social norms. I think there's going to be many different social norms, many different moral norms that compete with each other in any circumstance. I think it's going to be anti-academic, anti-philosophical to say that there's exact thresholds of obligations that exist. I'm not sure what the argument for that would be. I think in general, preferences aren't going to be defined in like numerical thresholds. I think that's a silly claim.
Okay, but that isn't necessarily again, to what extent can you justify though anything? Just harm reduction? Yeah, exactly. It seems to me to be too vague.
Sure. Well, I think there's going to be vagueness with any sort of ethical principle. Can you promote like an ethical principle that isn't vague?
Well, I mean, I would say, though, that you can just develop a system of metric. I guess the follow-up question to that would be, what is your metric?
What is my metric?
Yeah, for guys, I guess determining what would be the harm reduction.
What is the harm reduction? Are you asking, how do we know if harm's reduced?
Like, how would you know with the harm reduction, and to what extent can you use that to justify taking other people's resources?
Sure. So I think there's obviously numerous ways that we can denote harm reduction. We can denote harm reduction in terms of reduction of death. Maybe we can denote harm reduction in terms of reductions in morbidity, things like that, depending on the context. Obviously,
just people living longer?
Suffering is going to be a subjective concept. So there's not going to be an objective utility calculus of a subjective concept. That's not going to be really the claim.
Okay, so basically you're just going to say whether people are alive or not?
We can make estimates of utility calculuses using numerous metrics.
So you're just going to say because people are alive or not, that's what you're going to say?
You don't think that harm reduction indicates like a reduction in death in some way?
Well, I agree that there are things that you can do to help, or increase people's health and things of that sort, and that would definitely contribute to whether, they're likely to live longer and this and that, right? But I still don't see what the justification would be to make other people do that for anyone else.
Sure. Well, I think this is going to be shown in numerous reductios. I can just give you a reductio. Like if there was a billionaire and 1,000 poor people, and these 1,000 poor people are going to die unless we force this billionaire to give up $1 million. Aren't we forced the billionaire to do that?
I would say that if you're playing on the notion of the principle of the law of necessity, then those poor people who are about to starve, we can expect them to do whatever it takes for them to survive. So I would basically be very predictable that they would. I would say also likewise, though, given that the billionaire has the ability to self-defense, I'd say he'd also be justified in doing whatever measures that he would also want to defend or protect himself, right? Especially knowing that these people are just going to try. Right. So it would just basically be a conflict of, they want something, they're going to try to take it from him, and he's going to try to defend it.
You're not engaging in the reductio, though. So just in that reductio, what he
said force. He said force. I am engaged. Breeza, will you stop interrupting, please?
Wait, really quick. So the question is, if there was a tax policy imposed on the billionaire that said that you had to give up $1 million because it would be necessary to save the 1,000 poor people from dying, would that be something that's justified? That's the only question.
Necessary, if we're talking about to the state of necessity, that would be immediate. I mean, that kind of a policy in place. I would say if it's determined, I would say some level could be justified in the sense, because we already have case law that shows that, let's say, the first 2 rows of any orchard can be given off to just passerbyers or transients. So I'd say you could validly probably make that somewhat of a justification to suffice their necessity. But I wouldn't say. I guess I'm trying to figure out exactly how you would, figure out exactly what they would need beyond that.
How about a 90% reduction in infant mortality at the cost of one millionaire or billionaire giving up $1 million annually?
This is a great example of why economics is amoral. Trying to moralize things and say, well, hypothetically, if all of the laws of economics became non-existent, then what would we do, right? It's just silly. We know that that's not the case. We know that socialist countries have resulted in miserable conditions for people, and capitalist countries have resulted in best conditions.
Absolutely not true. Absolutely not true.
Absolutely true, yeah.
Nope, you're only thinking about the failed systems such as Russia or the USSR and China, perhaps, but you're not looking at Western Europe, like Denmark.
Okay, so those aren't socialist countries, those are social democracies, and countries like Denmark, Sweden, and Norway became successful off of free market systems, right? Most of them didn't even have these massive welfare states until the 1960s, and they were already the richest countries in the world by then.
Listen,
they're actually quite poor back then.
No, they weren't. Not in the 1960s.
Poland, between the 1930s and 1960s, Poland was incredibly impoverished.
I didn't even say Poland. I said Norway,
I just
Denmark,
gave you an
and
example.
I said Norway, Denmark, and Sweden.
Poland is a social democracy at this
point. In 1960, Norway, Denmark, and Sweden were both in the top 10 in the world for life expectancy.
Okay, so what you're not understanding about is this PraxBen that's speaking? So to be clear, like when you do study socialism and Marxism and all that, what you come to understand is the reason the USSR failed and China failed is because they don't have their economy. It's mostly still egalitarian in some sense. Like it's not developed as much. So you're right. Like the way that Sweden and Denmark are able to be more successful with their social programs and social democracy, and they can be more successful at it, is because, in fact, socialism does require that. It requires for your industry to be advanced. It needs and not still be like developed, So that is a requirement. So we're talking about the U.S. We definitely have that.
Well, the requirement is that you have private ownership of property. You have private businesses that are giving you profits that you can then tax and use to fund these social programs.
Exactly. And we're there already. We are there already as the U.S.
Sure, but then the question is, like that, I'm not disputing that claim per se, but then the question is whether or not these massive welfare systems actually were a net benefit for these countries. And we know they weren't. We can look at the historical data, and we know these countries were more relatively successful before their welfare
Denmark,
states.
You could look at their, that's not true. Denmark, in the U.S., anywhere with socialized universal health care, they have way far better outcomes than we do. And they
I agree. And they had far better outcomes before they had massive welfare states.
End up paying less. They actually end up paying less. That's the shocking part.
Again, all of these countries relative to the United States were actually better before their welfare states. Like you're completely ignoring my claim here. You're completely dodging. If we look at the economic history of any of these countries, they were better off before their welfare states. So we know they're not successful because of their welfare states.
No.
Tony, anybody we could rotate out? I haven't been really on lately.
I've been rotating people out. PraxBen just got up here. Josh just got up here.
Just make sure.
Okay.
Breeza, Josh, did everybody get a chance to speak?
I can rotate out. I just want to say one thing before I leave, that there is no ethical billionaire. I know we were talking about that a moment ago, but if you were to get $1 for every second, it would take you 32 years to get $1 billion and like 11 days to get $1 million. So there's just literally not enough time in life to become a billionaire by actually working for it. But yeah,
that's not really a good argument.
And also, host, I think.
You're having to exploit other people, and you're taking other people's hard-earned money.
Wait. So Mollie, if you create a product that's just successful and popular and it takes off, and then you work hard and invest more in machinery that'll produce more of that product and this and that, are you exploiting people? People just are capable of doing more, and then on top of that, some people just have a greater will and drive to do things. Some people are willing to put in more time. Some people are willing to do what is necessary to make something work. Now, are there people that do exploit? Absolutely. But I'm saying I think you're to assume that everybody has achieved their wealth by ill-gotten gains is just fallacious reasoning in itself.
You didn't address what Mollie said, though. Like, Mollie talked about how people don't have livable wages, and all you said was, well, some people
she talked about how if you worked every second or whatever, you just earned a livable wage, you would never become a millionaire.
I actually wasn't finished speaking.
Great.
I actually wasn't finished speaking.
Like I said, I did deal with what she said.
Finished speaking.
I think you're
but
just
I said
saying
something after that as well, where the people that are making, billions of dollars. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
You didn't address what Mollie had said. Like, Mollie had talked about how people aren't making enough to actually live, and you just said there's people who are willing to work harder. And like, this entire conversation has been like based upon like your.
What is enough to actually live?
I actually wasn't speaking. I wasn't finished speaking. Right?
Okay. Let him finish. Go ahead, Shaun. Right.
Yeah, so you didn't address what Mollie had said. What Mollie had talked about was that there are people who are making wages that aren't enough to live.
Somebody driving.
Just oh my God. You know what? Fuck it.
Somebody driving.
No, just let him finish.
Oh, that was him. He was.
It was her.
Him. Yeah.
Her. She's a woman.
What are you talking about? That was a him.
You know what I'm talking about.
She's a woman.
I don't know what you're talking about. What is that?
All right.
You don't know what a woman is?
Can Shaun finish?
Sure, yeah. It's an adult human female. Do you know what it is?
All right, yeah. No. Yeah. No. I'm not having this conversation today. No.
Do this with me next time on the panel, please.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. So he can finish talking when he's got.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So you're okay. So Tony, your entire claim about there are just some people out here that are superior to others and other people are inferior. Is that the argument that you really want to stand on?
Superior? No, what I'm saying is some people.
So are you going to go that there are?
Is it a fact live to be great? Is it a fact that there are some people that are faster at running live to be
great? Guys, listen. I'm gonna 5 minutes. I'm shutting the live down because it's getting. I'm busy and I can't get the reputation of me letting people say whatever they want to say. Yeah, so 5 minutes, I'm shutting down.
That would be Tony.
Okay, 5 minutes.
Tony's being blatantly transphobic in a live.
Yeah. That's not true. Okay, what is that, Josh? What is that? I can't be phobic. So, Josh, you must have just got here.
Yeah.
You're just throwing out Josh.
Yeah. So there used to be an aversion of black. Well, there still is an aversion to black people. I think that's inherently wrong.
So you're Jewish. What's wrong with being anti-Semitic, Ben?
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Like, what's wrong with being a bigot?
What's wrong with being anti-Semitic? I mean, I would say it's fairly irrational, right? Like,
it's fairly irrational,
justification of anti-Semitism is that, like, Jews are getting together, scheming against you. It's just false, so it's based on a false premise, right? But if an aversion to transgender people is based on a true premise, then there's nothing wrong with it.
But what's the premise that's true?
The premise that's true is that they're attempting to what they're doing is they're labeling themselves as something that they're not, and they're trying to get people to accept a lie. Right, so my aversion is to accepting a lie.
What's the lie? They're women.
The lie is that they're women.
Hold on. We don't need to substantiate what we already have to be proven true.
Sure
you need to establish. You need to substantiate what you
lie.
It's your claim.
The lie is that there's no evolutionary basis for biological sex, so on and so forth.
But they're not arguing on the merit of biological sex. They're arguing gender.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, we're talking. Okay, great.
Yo, I'm not having this conversation today. No way. Nope. No. Sorry that I've been a bad host today. I've been a little busy at work. I'm going to end the live now because it's too crazy. I will be back on probably this evening. We can continue to have a conversation later. But sorry that I kicked all my guests. I love y'all and I hope you guys come back. I cannot let the live go this way and not have any say. I can't have no say in what's going on. Jimmy, hush. Okay? But I'm going to be back. You guys enjoy your day. I will work with my mods. I'm going to go and unmod everybody and start from scratch. Okay? Maybe I won't have any mods. Maybe I'll just do it myself. Y'all have a good day today. And we will chat soon. Goodbye.